So they've got that.
And we are live.
Wow.
Wow. Uh-oh. Why is it saying, oops, something went wrong? Oh, no, we're good. We're good. No, we're good. We're live. I verified. It showed up.
Okay.
All right. So let me open up the Dashy dashboard here.
Here we go.
So I have some dashboard
Pause
stuff
that.
here.
Pop out the chat.
Got to get the chat. Yep. Got to get that chat out. Pop that sub B out. I'm going to move the chat over there since I don't need to really see.
Let's go.
Right.
No, not chat. Live
oh,
chat.
Pele's in the house. Look at Pele even hung out. Even though we started late, Pele is just right there every time, man.
Nice. What up, Blue Faro, BB Junkie, Hunter Meyer? What up?
Love you guys long time. Seriously. Love you upside down, all around, inside out, up, down. I don't know what I'm saying. Man, I had weird sleep last night. I was telling Ox about it before the stream. That I went to sleep. Usually I only get like maybe 2 or 3 hours max of sleep before a tech talk. It's weird. My sleep schedule's thrown off because of the back pain. And right now I'm wearing a safety lift belt just to hold my back together so I can sit upright, or otherwise I can't even sit upright. My back is so bad. I'm sadly going to have to go to the doctor and get x-rays. I was trying to avoid it, but there's a mass in my back on my muscle on the left side, and it's rock hard. And I can't tell if it's a bone spur pushing the muscle against my skin, or if it's like the muscle like got torn and created a shitload of scar tissue. But it feels like I have like a grapefruit like pushing through my back, and it just hurts really bad. So I need to get that checked out. Hey, Car Wash, thank you for the 5 gift subs. Woo! You guys may notice also today that I'm rocking my HD 600s.
They would have never noticed.
And Ox is rocking his HD 620s because he's got to be a little bit better than me.
650s.
Oh, 650. Sorry, 30 more. My bad.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So he's got the Wicked headphones also, and I'm running through. I took my Rode Caster Pro, output that to a Iffy Griffin XDX, and then I've got that to a balanced connector going out to these headphones. So, and it sounds
fancy,
fucking remarkable. Like it sounds glorious. These might be my just permanent like studio monitors going forward. Yeah, because like don't get me wrong, I love my Sonys. Right, I just fixed them. I just put a new cable on them. They're amazing. However, I did not realize that these HD 600s were this good. It's like monitoring audio. Like a lot of headphones aren't good for monitoring audio. They're either too bassy or too much treble, and I don't really have a good way to. The Rodecaster Pro, one of its faults is it doesn't have a very good EQ in it. You can't really like EQ the audio really good on it. You have to use like EQ it through the computer, and it's a pain in the ass. And it doesn't affect the loopback audio because the loopback audio never goes to the PC. It goes into the Rodecaster and out of the Rodecaster. That's how you get that zero latency. And so I can never get it to sound right with a lot of headphones. So you need a really flat headphone that just produces a very, very flat sound signature. And the 600s are like considered like they're a monitor that people in the industry use them as a studio monitor, like headphone, specifically as a reference for like getting all their audio just right so that it sounds correct on everybody else's headphones that like maybe like more bass or like more treble or like, you know, different headphones color the audio differently. These are designed to give you the flattest audio so that the expectation is everybody that creates audio uses something like this to master the audio so that when everybody puts their own little tweaks and spins on it, it all sounds to their liking. Kind of like how they do a video too, like with you know, when you buy a screen that's like $10,000 that's like VESA certified and like, you know, 99% Adobe RGB standard and everything. It's so when you edit the video, it looks exactly how you want it to look. And then anybody else that has something that meets that standard or is close to that standard will see the exact same thing. However, people that have, you know, TVs and stuff that maybe add more red saturation or have effects on them to like deepen the contrast and stuff, they get the same distance away from what would be considered stock from other content that was edited in the same way, so they get a reasonable expectation of everything looking similar. So the idea is as long as everything is mastered on a flat curve for video and audio, doesn't really matter, then everybody that adds their own little personal twist to it for whatever reason has a reasonable expectation of stuff looking the same. That's why when you open up one video, it's not like super dark, and then you open another video and it's like way too blown out and bright. If all the video is edited, you know, on a rig that's as close to that standard as possible, then however you add your little flair to it, it's going to look good. Whoa, man, we got a bunch of people coming in today. So Blue Varo, thank you for the 27 months membership to the channel. Appreciate you, brother. He also gifted another 5. So Blue Varo gifted 5 and Car Wash gifted 5. Woo! You guys are so awesome. I appreciate you so much. Daniel Frost just became a member for 29 months. He just re-upped. He said, wow, time goes fast. Dude, it sure does. It sure does, man. I've been having actually a big problem with that lately, with how fast time is going by. Like, I notice the older I get, and I know this is like really cliche, but the older I get, the faster time seems to go by. I don't know if it's because I'm getting older and my brain is slowing down. So it's like, it seems like time's going by really fast because it's taking me a lot more time to process what's coming in. Or I don't know if it's because every minute you live is relative to how long you've already lived. Like, you already know what it's like. For in my case, I'm 45 years old. Let's say my memory kicked in around, 5 years old, right? It was earlier than that, but let's say around 5 years old. So that's 40 years I have where I know what 40 years feels like. So because I know the distance of 40 years, and that's my entire life, every additional year that I live is like 1/40th of my life, right? So, and there's less and less life ahead of me, and I know what that feels like, that time behind me. It always feels like the same constant of time, even though it was like 40 years, now it's 50 years, 60 years. It's just, that's all the life I've lived up to this point. So now every year after that seems to go a little faster and a little faster and a little faster because I have, now I have a wider reference frame of how long time has been. And the best way I can explain this is like if I was a mortal, like the Highlander, right? If I was like the Highlander and I was like 1,000 years old, how fast do you think a day, a week, or a month or year would go by? It'd probably go by so fast. Like, you could probably just sit in a cell in solitary for like a month at a time, and it would just feel like a day, right? So it'd be wild. It'd be absolutely wild. Did Ox? Hey, Ox, are you still there?
Yeah, no worries.
Oh, okay.
Just
weird.
had a quick phone call.
Oh, that's what that was. Okay, I was looking. I thought I was seeing like video from when you were on the phone call. I was like, oh god, I wasn't broadcasting, was I?
Nope.
I just looked over. I was like, oh, is everything good?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay, let me know if you have to step away for any reason. Just let me know, and
of course.
And I'll carry things while you're gone, and then you can pop back in when you need to.
Yeah, no worries.
Because I don't want you to miss anything that's important, bro.
Yeah.
Let's see here. Oh yeah, I was just thanking everybody. Car Wash just gave us another 4 months of membership. He said, love you, buddy. Glad to see you as always. Hey, appreciate you so much, man. I really do. So Blue Varro, Daniel Frost, and the Car Wash just came out of the gate. The membership's raging. So I really do appreciate that support, guys. It helps me out a lot. It really does. Also helps me pay the taxes.
Yeah.
which it just seems to get more and more every year. So far, I've gotten zero tax relief. I thought I heard I was going to get all this tax relief. Okay, I'm not going to get all political in the beginning of the show, but hey, I haven't seen none of the tax relief. You guys, I haven't seen. Where's my $5,000 check that I was promised by Elon? Where's my money? Where's my tax? Right, I was told that I was getting a tax break and that like I wouldn't even have to pay taxes. Like in a month, all my taxes were going to be paid by tariffs. Now it turns out I'm paying the exact same amount of taxes and tariffs. So it really sucks. Also, tariffs. The pricing from tariffs is now really kicking in. Like, you're really starting to see it across the board now.
Yep.
I feel bad for solar companies. All the solar companies in Washington are shutting down now because they can't afford the panels. Did you see the tariff on solar?
No, but I'm not surprised.
3,600%.
Have you seen this tariff on fucking bananas? Like, it's everything. So,
no, but
I'm not surprised.
Did you hear the number? 3,600%.
Okay.
So that means every dollar, every dollar you spend on a panel, take 3,600%. So that'd be what? $360. $360 for every $1 you spend on a solar panel, you have to give them a $360 in tariff. So basically, nobody can buy solar panels and windmills. This applies to any alternative energy right now from China. And there's other countries that do manufacture solar panels and stuff, but not to the same degree and not even close to the same price point. So even if we switch to another country, it doesn't even come close to the margins that these companies are operating on. So they have to close their doors. They have to fire people. So yeah, alternative energy was like a big thing that was even picking up speed here in Washington. Last place you'd think alternative energy would pick up, really, because we just don't have a lot of sunshine, right? But apparently, yeah, solar was going gangbusters here, and it's like now overnight, like they're like, we can't weather this. Like, we have to fire everybody if we don't. And here's the thing, they have to make a really big decision, because if they don't kill the company fast enough, they can actually drain so many resources that there's no way to bring the company back. It just defaults into bankruptcy and just it's gone, right? And then there's no jobs for anybody. So what happens, or they can try to sell early, give their employees some kind of small severance if they can, and then just deep six the company without going into debt, too far into debt. So it's like, imagine having to make that decision just because like one dude decided one day he was just going to put an arbitrary number on something illegally. That's weird, man.
Yeah.
That is weird. That is, regardless of your political party, doesn't matter. That should piss you off. That should straight up piss you off, honestly. And even if you don't like EV, it doesn't matter. It still affects you because there's a price ripple there, right? There's a lot of cars that run on EV, like Amazon. All your deliveries that come to your house now with Amazon are in electric vehicles.
Mm-hmm.
So now those electric vehicles, the price of all the batteries, the maintenance, the components, the upkeep, the chargers, every single thing that maintains that entire fleet now has gone up by 140%. That's the general tariff, right? And the only person that's getting tariff relief, if you guys didn't notice, you can probably guess though. Like,
Apple.
No. Well, Apple is, but who's the the only EV company that's getting relief?
Tesla,
of course.
Yeah.
So and it's so specific that Tesla, it's written in such a way that only cars that have precisely 87% of their materials from China are exempt, and only one company gets 87% precisely, and that's Tesla. So they basically just said, "Hey Tesla, what's a metric that you have that nobody else has?" And they use that as their goalpost. So yeah, that's how corrupt shit has gotten. So if you're not paying attention and you're just like riding the wave of just, oh man, we're winning so much, unicorn tears, liberal tears. Yeah, start looking at your bank account, your 401k, and start looking out in your driveway and make damn sure that you have something that burns hydrocarbons. Oh, and by the way, gas isn't getting any cheaper. Gas is actually going to go up in price.
Oh no, it's $1.98 now. I heard it.
Yeah, it's wait, were you getting $1.98? You're joking, right?
Man,
I was gonna say you gotta be
lying about.
He said it's $1.98 when the average is like $2.80 or something in the Midwest, where like oil is the cheapest, and it's like $3.90 or something on the outskirts.
Right? Like the national average, I think recently was like $3.67 or something. It's bonkers.
Oh, Rab, thank you for reminding me about that. He said, "Have you stopped making jitter for Patreon?" I love those, dude. I just totally slipped my mind with everything going on lately. No, I need to make, I definitely want to make jitter videos. Matter of fact, I'll make a jitter video tonight. Like tomorrow, if you don't see one, remind me, because I need to make a jitter. You are 100% correct, dude. I need to make a lot of jitters, man. Actually, you know what? I might just do that. I might go out there and just sit in the hot tub and crank out a jitter. That's a good place to do them. Yeah. It's nice because I can just say everything on there that I can't really say publicly, you know? And it's nice because you have a supportive audience that you know likes you and knows are backing you up and fighting in your corner. So it's a lot easier to say shit, you know, and be a little bit more hardcore, which I usually am, or emotional. It's like, hey, dude, I'm not afraid to cry on camera. Fucking do it all the time. Mm-hmm. Joel's solar setup is massive. Yeah, it is, and it's a good thing he got it when he did. Like, honestly, when he got it, he was kind of ripped off. Like, I know he thought he got a good deal, but like the recovery time on it and stuff is just ridiculous. Like this, I feel like that solar company was taking advantage of a lot of people, not just him. However, in hindsight, he got the deal of the century. If he turned around and sold those panels right now used to a solar company that's like still trying to build out customers that already paid, they would probably give him 6 or 8 times the value of those panels. He'd be able to repay the loan back to them immediately and just pocket like, you know, another like 10 grand. I mean, I don't know precisely how big a setup is, but I know that on the used market right now, he can sell those panels for more than he paid for them brand new, plus margin.
I love these people. So somebody was saying about the $1.98 thing, and there's like these screenshots of Gas Buddy, and they're showing like $1.93. Except if you look closer, it's for E85.
Yeah, that's different.
Yeah, because that's 85% ethanol.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
That's like, you know, and not very many vehicles are built for that.
No, you have to have very specific piping in your car, special injectors, and special tuning.
It'll melt your fuel lines. And
stuff. Yeah. The alcohol just eats through everything.
It eats the rubber.
Yeah, if you have rubber seals, lines,
you burn out your
if you put E85 in like an older car that doesn't support it, it will literally, your car will be dripping gasoline on the ground, like in oil on the ground within a week.
Yeah.
Like it'll eat just from sitting in the seals in your driveway. It'll just eat away at it until it finds a little pinhole and it'll start leaking all over the place. And then to replace the seals, you don't just replace the ones on the outside of the engine. You have to replace the internal seals because you'll start noticing like shit'll start getting through the what's that main gasket? The rear main seal and the front seal on the engine, like the two most important, and you have to take the engine completely apart to like redo those seals. You have to do those if you fuck that up. So you can't really put E85 in anything. You have to have the car, you have to have the car specifically built to handle it. And the other thing too, people don't realize, E85 only gives you 30% less mileage than regular gasoline. So you have to burn 30% more of the fuel to get the same energy out of it.
It burns like wicked hot. And
well, it's like you have to pump in. So you have to put bigger injectors and a bigger fuel pump on your car to run E85 to get the same power. Just to get the same power, because you have to pump in 30% more fuel volume to get the exact same power. So like an injector pumping in. So if you have a 100cc injector, whatever, now you need a 130cc injector to produce the same amount of power, which means now your gas tank, your range on your gas tank is 30% less. And trust me, I know this because when I was down in California, Jay's Camaro, his ZL1 1LE, he had that thing tuned for E85. He had an E85 tune in it. And he'd fill the gas tank, and that thing had a big gas tank on it. And it was like the gas tank be empty by the end of the day. Like just doing a couple pulls, you could see the needle moving. Like when he floored it in that thing, you'd see the gas needle like physically moving with your naked eye. It was wild, dude. Like that thing ate gas like a sumbitch. I also have a friend who has a tuned STI, a Subaru STI like mine. On E85, he's able to make 500 horsepower on a stock engine and stock transmission. Wow. Isn't that wild? That's like almost double the horsepower. It's like another 200 on top of a normal 300 horsepower car. And I'm like, damn, dude, how'd you do that? Just E85, and all he did was bigger injectors, bigger fuel pump, more freer flowing exhaust, and a shit ton of boost. Because with the E85, you can crank the boost way up because the E85 is a much stabler fuel, so it doesn't detonate as easily. So you can crank, as long as you got the injectors and you got the pump to put that fuel in the cylinder, and you got the pressure to give it enough air to give it the right mixture, it'll blow up and it'll give you the power. But remember, you have to give it 30% more fuel just to get the same power you were getting. But the reason you get so much more horsepower is because now you can pump in 100% more fuel or 150% more fuel over stock, and you can now generate the boost to ignite it and get that power out of it without your engine detonating. Which detonation is when the explosion happens in the cylinder before it reaches top dead center. So imagine like a bicycle pedal when it's coming up. Imagine if you push down on that pedal as hard as you could as it was coming up, right? You could bend the crank on your bike. And so same thing with an engine, right? With an engine, you only want the power pushing down on the cylinder when it's already on its way down. If you push it while it's on its way up, you bend shit and break shit. And that's how engines usually end up blowing up from running too much boost, right? Is they either melt the rods like I did my engine in my Corolla, or you blow the rings out of it, or in most cases you end up bending the rods. Speaking of cars, still driving the Subaru, Corey asks? Yeah, I haven't driven it in a while. I think last time I drove it was a month ago to my doctor's appointment. I really need to drive it more, but honestly, my back's been so bad I can't really drive it comfortably anymore, so I may have to sell it. The good news is if I have to sell it, I'm going to get a shitload for it because the unintended side effect, well, I mean, Trump's an idiot. We know that. But the unintended side effect of the tariffs were the used car market went through the roof. So new cars went up by about 20% in cost. So like, expect a vehicle that's $50,000 to be $60,000, $100,000 to be $120,000 now. And the same for electric cars, unless it's Tesla because they got the one exemption out of everybody. For Tesla, will probably be able to hold their prices somewhere around stock. But the used car market, holy shit, man. My car went up by like $5,000 overnight on the used market. Now, people might go, oh, that's great. Yeah, it's great for a seller, for me. But here's the problem. If I sell my car and I got to go buy another car, I have to pay that back to get my other car. So even if it looks like I'm getting more money, I'm really not, right? It's kind of like with houses. People are like, whoa, you got your house for $700,000. You only paid $240 for it? It's like, yeah, but if I sell my house for $700 and I go buy another house that's similar, that house is going to be $700 now. So even though I made the money, unless I use that money for something else that's unrelated, I'm really not gaining much because in the end, it's just pacing the market. And if I'm selling a car to get a car or selling a house to get a house, it's pretty much exchangeable. You're not going to gain a lot unless it's something special. However, my car is a manual, and manuals have gone up in price so much because nobody makes them anymore.
It's true. Manuals
are super rare. The only companies that are manufacturing manuals right now are a few hypercar companies, and I think Porsche is like the last holdout that makes a couple special editions, but they're still like $300,000 cars. They're not cheap by any stretch of the imagination. Network guy said, I got to rev the Subi and left a cum stain on the seat. Oh my God. Hey,
I actually drove the Subi.
Yeah, like, I was going to ask that.
From lunch to PDX to the event.
Yeah,
only a couple miles, but
hey, networking guy, did I let you drive the Subaru when you were up here? I don't think we had enough time to. But if not, next time you come up, I'll let you drive it. Yeah, no, I let everybody drive the Subaru. Joel's driven my Subaru. We actually swapped cars when Joel got his first car. We swapped them. Dude, you shifted that thing like a motherfucker, dude. I was shocked. The Subaru is not a really simple car to shift. It's got a really stiff stage 2 clutch in it. Mine specifically. and it grabs really high, and the gears are a little finicky because like the second gear synchro is a little touchy. But man, you shifted that thing. To be fair,
I did stall it out that very first time. Like the one time.
Yeah, but then I told you just hammer down. After I told you hammer down, you were just like, woo! Yeah, he was like slamming. You shift fast too. Like I was actually surprised you were able to time those shifts and not grind it.
I'm amazing.
Like the boost wasn't dropping at all. It was just it literally felt like he was driving a dual clutch transmission. Like he was shifting faster than I usually do. And you know, once you own the car for a long time, you get kind of lazy on the shifts unless you're racing on a track or something. But yeah, when I saw you grabbing those shifts, and it was like. There was like no, like the jerk was so smooth. Like it wasn't like a shift and then it was like the car was bogging or bucking. It was like hammer, hammer, hammer. Like I just felt like I was getting hit in the back every time we were going into a gear, and I was like, oh, this is rad, dude. So yeah, I had to applaud you on that. Not a lot of people get into the Subaru and just master the clutch like that. 5K red light launch. All right. Yeah, no, my car does do. I think I didn't I do standing burnouts? With you in the car, where I was just dropping the clutch off the rev limiter in first gear. I used to do that all the time. So anytime people get my car, one of the funnest things to do in the Subaru is because I have all solid motor mounts throughout the entire thing. So instead of it like giving and transferring and twisting everything, it just slams all the power to the half shafts, and they take it. As long if I got any more power, they wouldn't though. They'd break. But no, first gear drive pavement, that thing, as long as I didn't have like race compound tires on it, as long as I wasn't running like a sticky track tire on it, yeah, I could just put it in first gear, just slam it off the red limiter, drop the clutch, and then it would bounce off the rev limiter, smoking all four tires. You'd see smoke coming out too. You could actually see smoke blowing out the side, and then you could grab second and keep all four tires burning on drive pavement all the way through second, and then when you grab third, they'd finally start to cool down and grip, or they'd start getting a little sticky and grip because it didn't have enough power to overcome it. But yeah, it's fun. That car it was like an RC car. It's like driving an RC car. I absolutely love it. But the funny thing is, by today's standards, my car is slow. It is slow. Like when I bought it, when I originally bought it, it was like one of 3 cars that had over 300 horsepower stock in the United States, like that you could buy. Like that wasn't like a hypercar, right? And nowadays it's like fucking vans have like 300 horsepower. A Honda Civic Si has like 320 horsepower stock, and it's just front wheel drive.
Yeah.
You know, it's like a front wheel drive car has like more power than I do stock. My car is tuned up a little bit, so it makes 340 at the wheels, which is like I think the equivalent of about 380 at the crank, because you lose quite a bit in the 4-wheel drive system on that car. And I make about 380 torque, which is equivalent of about 420 torque from the crank. And it made a huge difference in that car's personality and how it drove. But still, even that much power is nothing compared to what you get today. I mean, shit, you can buy a Veloster, a Hyundai Veloster, I think has 300 horsepower bone stock. A Ford Focus RS, I think, is like 320 now. It's like 300 or 320, and it weighs a lot, and I think it weighs like 200 pounds less than the Subaru. Like, it's a wicked car. My neighbor has one, and I drove it, and I was like, dude, this is badass. Although now it's a garage queen, because he went and bought one of those C8 Corvettes, and after that, it was like game over. He never touches the other car now. If I had money, I'd offer him. You know what I should do? I should say, hey, bud, you want to trade that straight up for my Subaru? He wouldn't, because it's worth way more than the Subaru is, I'm sure. Yeah. But and it's got a mount tune on it too, so it's like I think it's making like 400 or something like that with bolt-ons. Dang. It's the smoothest shifting car I've ever been in, though. It literally feels like the shifter's not even connected to anything, dude. It straight up feels like you're just playing on a simulator. Hey, Car Wash, thank you for the $5 super chat. He said, thank you again for the kind words last stream. It really meant a lot to me. It made me smile, so thank you for that. Oh, hey, likewise, dude. We appreciate you so much, man. Woo! Oh, also, did you see Pele coming in clutch 12 minutes ago? Sorry, I missed that, Pele. Pele gave us $25.75. I'm sure that was like the exchange rate from his normal currency. Yep. He said, the wife is away this weekend, so I can eat and drink whatever I want. Woo! That's code for watch porn and masturbate, I'm sure.
Find a nice steak.
Hey, when the girlfriend's out of town, or in my case, just downstairs, you know, it's like when in Rome. Right? What did they say? Like different zip code, it doesn't count? I'm just upstairs. Yeah. It's a different elevation, different altitude.
I do that sometimes.
No, I love my wife. She is the greatest. My wife is the greatest. She understands me on a level that nobody else ever could. And I think that's important. That's really important when you have a partner, is you need a partner that just understands like how fucking weird and messed up you are, that doesn't even like agree necessarily or like the things that you like or do, but they just understand it and they tolerate it, right? They're like, oh, I get why you're that way. And then you reciprocate and you're like, okay, you're a little weird too. So And you just come to understand that everybody's just a little bit weird, and they just kind of do their things and make them happy. As long as you're not hurting anybody else, it's all good. And if you can find a relationship like that where you don't have to pretend to be a different person around each other to appease each other, and you can't ever get comfortable, it's like I couldn't be married to somebody unless I can literally have a conversation with them, dead eye, looking them in the face while taking a shit. Like if I can't have somebody like literally standing right in front of me while I'm taking a shit with full eye contact, talking about something super serious while I'm literally solid shooting out my backside, that's not the right person for me. Like you gotta have those open gates, right? You have to be able to just literally do anything in front of them. Like if you can't ask your wife to give you a suppository without even cracking a smile, like you haven't arrived yet. Hey, networking guys, and by the way, Jerry at RMRRF later this month, I'm going to set up my tablet on Discord call so some friends can attend virtually. Oh, yeah, hell yeah. I would love to be in that, dude. Hook it up, man. I miss going to cons so much, dude. Like, yeah, even just being a digital presence. Like, can you get a mask? Can you get like a mask over your face and then like tape an iPad to your chest and walk around? and I'll have arrow keys, and when I push the arrow keys, it'll play little sounds in your ear that tell you to go left, right, forward, and backwards. And then I could just drive you around the event talking to people. That would be hilarious,
right?
Hey, we could even present it as a thing. Like I made a human drone. Like fuck all this robotic stuff. I found a way to do it with a human.
Something we could figure. Yeah,
wouldn't that be funny? And we just both keep taking control of them. Like whoever joins the room gets control, and it just plays the sounds when they hit the buttons. It's like left, back, forward, left, right, left, stop. Stop, go, increase speed, decrease speed. Just regular voice commands, so there's no confusion. Anthony said, I'm looking at getting the 2015 Cherokee Trailhawk. Oh, dude, Trailhawks are awesome.
Very nice.
Have you seen those? Dude,
on the lot, yeah.
Yeah, the Trailhawk is like that's the hot one, right? Isn't that the one that's got the blower in it? So it like has like 400 or 500 horsepower or something like that.
It's pretty, yeah.
Or I might be thinking of the Trackhawk. I think the Trailhawk is like the off-road version of that, but probably same engine. That's wild, dude. Those things are crazy. You know what? Have you noticed like at the drag strips? I don't know how much you watch racing, but at the drag strips, you see so many trucks and SUVs now that are like literally just beating the pants off cars. You're like, how are these 5,000-pound vehicles just destroying these purpose-built race cars? And it's why, like, seriously, like I saw a Chevy Silverado in the 6s. Like, I'm like, what? Like, why would you? Like, a truck seems like the least aerodynamic thing in the world, and they're hitting like trap speeds of like 220 miles an hour in these things. And I don't know what it is. I don't know what it is about trucks that just makes them track so straight. Like, even a Ford, I think Cletus McFarland has like a Ford Raptor, and he put a tune in it, and he's like in the 8 or 9 second quarter mile, and like a full F-150, like full size 4-seater Ford Raptor, and this thing is like going on a drag strip and putting down times that beat a Porsche. It blows my mind. Like it's just crazy. Oh, the Trailhawk is like the Scat Pack. Okay, so not like crazy powerful, not like the Trackhawk is. Okay, the F-150 is a Mexican GTR. Oh my God, I love it.
Good. That's very good.
I love it. That's actually a perfect way to put it. Hey, Blue Varo, thank you for the $10 super chat. He said, I'm signing the paperwork on Tuesday for my last new car that I'll have to buy. Dude, that sucks that you're buying a car right now. Oh God. Tell me how.
Now than in a month or two, honestly.
Yeah, how hard are you being hit?
Pretty bad, but.
Yeah, how hard are you being hit on the car? Is it new? First is, okay, you said it's new, right? The last new car you ever buy. What is it, and how much are you paying over a sticker because of the stupid tariff bullshit? I'm curious. And then let's see. Oh, Matthew Riley, thank you for the 26 months. 26-month membership to the channel. I keep trying to say subscribe, but that's Twitch. Let's see here. He said, celebrate 6 months. Don't forget to send out a message. You are live. I did not get any notifications through YouTube that you are live. Oh shit, I totally forgot. Bro, I suck. We started late and I didn't tell people we were streaming. Okay, hold on. Let me rectify that right now. Why don't you take some messages there in chat while I go pound this out?
Let's do it up, man. Let's see. Did you guys hear about 2025 Scania Semi from EU and USA? No. Let's see what that is about. Scania Semi. Usually we don't get the Euro ones because the the short noses on them, they're not built really for long haul. Like, once again, Europeans have a misunderstanding, I think, of how gigantic the fucking USA is, and that's actually why European semi trucks have like a short nose. You're basically sitting on top of the engine, whereas like US semi trucks have like the longer nose. The engine is like out in front.
Yep,
it's a lot to do with cooling.
Plus, European trucks are so luxurious, dude. Have you seen the inside of those things? They are so beautiful,
dude. Like proper long haul, like sleeper cabs are very, very nice. They're very nice. That's bonkers.
Those guys take their stuff seriously for sure.
Yeah, and plus also European roads are like narrower, and they got to like make weird turns and stuff. And
they're a lot narrower too, aren't they? Like literally like 7.5 feet or something. Where ours are like 9 plus.
Something like that. But
it's a lot.
Yeah. So,
all right. I think I sent it out. Hold on here. So I sent it on Facebook, X, Blue Sky, and Discord. I think that's everything.
So 2025 full range in the U.S. Huh? Hold on. In the U.S. in USA. Yeah. Okay. Hold on. Let's see about this. Scania semis are not typically sold in the U.S. market due to differences in emissions and safety regulations. While Scania has been sold in the U.S., so it was not successful. Custom builds, one-off test vehicles. Let's see. Is there anything?
By the way, Scantia is testing the U.S. market. There's a YouTuber they partnered with. I only know because I watch his channel. There's a YouTuber who basically has a Scantia truck that he imported through Canada, brought it into the United States, and he's driving around and letting all these truckers at conventions drive it and see if there's interest. They may bring him to the United States if. Well, not with the tariffs now, but if the tariffs go away, they might.
YouTube videos. Yeah, I've seen some YouTube videos and stuff. But
there's only like one in the United States, though. Like nobody else has. Scantia, they had to do like special licensing because the DMV couldn't even look up the information. They had to give it like a special exemption.
Yeah, September. I'm seeing a news report from September of last year. Scania has built an R770 spec for the USA with 770 horsepower and 2,700 torques. Neat.
Dude, it's got cool features on it too, like lane keeping and no shifting at all. It does 100% automatic shifting. Like every time you see those trucks, it always looks like they're always having to mess with gears and high and low, or even the ones they don't shift, even the automatics, it looks like they have to do a bunch, right? This thing is like you just push the gas and go. You got a gas and a brake and that's it. Like anybody could drive this thing. And I think that's cool because if you've ever watched, like I watch a lot of trucker channels, like I'm kind of into the trucker stuff. Like I like trucker simulators too. But those guys that have like the old Kenworth rigs from the 70s that they, tarred up and make it like brand new and put chrome on everything. Some of these guys, you're watching them drive this truck in traffic and they have 18 gears and a shifter. And the shifter is like, it looks like it's 6 foot long, right? It's like up by their head. And they're like doing half gears. Or you have to like push a button to like halve the gears and then go into gear. And then you're shifting. It's like down and then you click a button and then that goes into the half gear. And then you go into the full gear and then back up to the next gear. And you're watching them just row through 18 gears, slowly getting up to 16 miles an hour. And you're like, dude, how hard would that to be doing like LA traffic? Like, oh my God, these guys must have the most dexterous arms ever to be able to handle that. And plus, like, we're talking like old school 70s tech. Like, you have to push that brake pedal hard. That gas pedal isn't like super simple. And then you look at the Scandia, and the Scandia is like flat. You can see everything over the nose. It doesn't have like this 40-foot nose in front of it that cars can hide in blind spots. It's got cameras for all the blind zones behind it. It's got like auto lane keeping, cruise control, and like emergency braking. Dude, it's tight. It is tight. Hey, what's up, Graham? You said, what's up with the new headphones? These are the HD 600s that Adam sent me, and then he loves auxiliary more, so he got the HD 650s. No, they're just slightly different sounding headphones. But yeah, I'm trying out the 600s. I'm running from the Rodecaster Pro into the Griffin, the Iffy Griffin, and then out through the balance connector to the HD 600. They sound absolutely phenomenal. Like, honestly, I may not even go back to my Sonys. This may just be my setup moving forward because it's that good. So, wait, did Blue Varo ever reply on, he said, give me a minute. Yeah, I'm curious about the car he's buying. Cause I'm like, dude, right now is a scary time to buy a car. You're right. It will be worse next month. Like 100% it's going to be worse. Unless dude just gets a random hair and, a country offers him $1 billion to his campaign or whatever. And then he'll turn it off for him. Which he's already done for several people, by the way, which is like total horse shit, but not much we can do about it, man. We're not a democracy anymore. Graham said, oh my God, I wish I could afford a pair. I need something to get away from my AirPods. I don't like, I love in-ear monitors. Like good in-ear monitors sound good. And even the EarPods, I know a lot of people shit on them, but the EarPods Pro sound great. Like they're for what they are, they sound amazing. And they're not audiophile by any stretch of the imagination if you're listening to like super high quality music, but for watching videos, playing games and stuff like that, it's fine. They work perfectly fine. But they do tend to get uncomfortable really quick. That plasticky feel in your ear. Like I don't know if it's my ear shape, but I cannot get comfortable with them. And then even like really nice in-ears, like these, I've Air Audios. These are like $1,500 IEMs. I didn't buy them. They were sent to me like years ago. But it's like burl wood with like 8 drivers inside of it. And like I was supposed to get custom fittings for my ears, but I never got around to it. So I just used the little foam plugs that I bought. These things sound absolutely phenomenal, but man, I can't use them for long periods of time without getting earache. Anything that exerts any pressure on my ear canal, I just cannot get used to it for prolonged periods of time. My wife, on the other hand, she has earbuds in 24/7. She even sleeps with them in for like the noise canceling and stuff. Doesn't phase her a bit. She only takes them out to like recharge them. She uses them like they're hearing aids. Hey, Bubba and Matt swinging by. Hey. $5 super chat. He said, hey, dudes, can't stick around. He's got a theater gig in Eatonsville tonight. Indiana? Is that in Indiana? Yeah. So Evansville. Let's see here. With 2 dirty old men show, moving slow, broke toe, sinusitis, and a bee sting. Oh, that sucks, dude. Hey, shit, if you can still get her done with all that damage, hey, man, power to you. Oh, Blue Varo, you didn't have to give me another $10. Oh, dude. Okay, well, Blue Varo gave us another $10 to tell us what he's buying. Thank you, Blue Varo. We appreciate it. Give you a little love there. He said it's a 2024 Ford Bronco Sport Big Bend, has 15 miles on it. The MSRP is $31,845, and the dealer price was $29,472 with tax, etc., plus a 15-year unlimited miles extended warranty, just under $36,000.
Nice.
So he's paying $4,000 over MSRP, and he's paying, let's see here, and he said the dealer was 29-ish, so he's paying $7,000 over dealer. I mean, that sounds about right for the tariff that's going on right now. So so you're having to pay another basically $6,000 or $7,000. I mean, that sucks, but it's not as bad as some of the other stuff I've seen. Like I've seen some of the vehicles go up as much as $20,000. Like for a $60,000 vehicle went up by $20,000. So I guess that's not too bad. And it's a 2024. You said it has 15 miles, so that's brand new. Like that's like mileage from just test driving. That thing's never actually been purchased and licensed, I'm guessing. So yeah, I guess that's not a horrible deal. It just sucks that you have to buy when it's so high, because what's going to happen is you're going to buy that, and then when the tariffs come off, you're immediately going to lose like $7,000 in value in that thing, at least, in the used market. But if that's the last vehicle you're going to buy that you plan to keep forever, then it doesn't really matter. You don't have to worry about like recouping your investment if you're just going to drive the wheels off the thing. And let's be honest, if you keep that thing for 20 years and just drive the shit out of it or whatever, there's no way it's going to be worth less than it is now. In 20 years, that's the thing with cars. They always depreciate like a motherfucker. And then as long as it's not like the cheapest garbage's car ever made, unless it's one of those cars where they all rust away and there's only like 3 examples left, then it's worth $1 million. But as long as it's like stays intact relatively, it's like there's going to be a point where that car is worth more than it is right now. Like it can be an investment if you can hold it for that long and not like completely blow it up. But Fords are usually, I don't know about the Broncos. I don't know what engine the Broncos are running, but Fords are generally pretty reliable vehicles.
Yeah.
I know Chevy. I think is it Ford or Chevy that has the most reliable truck right now? I'd have to go and look again, but I think it's Ford. I think Ford still holds the record for the most reliable drivetrain. Like the F-150 is like bulletproof. Like you buy an F-150, you can put 300, 400,000 miles on it, no problem. Minimal issues as long as you take care of the oil. Let's see here. The Car Wash channel. Thank you for the $10 super chat. He's bringing his casino money in here. This is money he said he'd blow at the casino otherwise last week. He said, I was test driving a 2024 Subaru Legacy, and the anti-collision just braked in the middle of a major highway. No car in front of me. Oh, that's scary. I was so shaken that I decided not to buy it and keep my 15 Legacy. Yeah, that shit kind of scares me, honestly. I feel like cars are getting a little too smart for their own good, and a lot of accidents are caused by the car doing the wrong thing. Like, for instance, if you've ever used Tesla Autopilot, even if you've only used it for like an hour, if you've used Tesla Autopilot for an hour, you've had an emergency brake happen. Like, you've had it just break in the middle of nowhere for no reason. It does it all the time. It tries to err on the side of caution, because it doesn't want to kill people. But here's the thing. Emergency braking at speed is very dangerous. You know why? Because the person behind you might not be paying attention. And if they're not paying attention and you slam on the brakes on your car, they're going to go right through you. And that's a problem. You know, that's you're going to get severely damaged. Now you might survive because it's a really safe car, but the person that slams into you might die. You know, and then your insurance is like, ooh, this is a problem. Especially if you're in a state that has shared responsibility. Some states you get in just as much trouble getting rear-ended as the person that rear-ended you. Oof. Luckily, we're in Washington.
Something like that for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, Washington, we're an at-fault state. So, like, if somebody rear-ends you in Washington, by default, even if you backed into them, unless they can prove that you backed into it, if there's damage to your rear bumper and damage to their front bumper, and you call the police, boom, you are immediately. If you're the one crashed into, you're the one that's safe. But some states aren't like that. Some states, somebody can just get drunk and ram into the back of your car, and you're like 50%. Your insurance is 50% responsible. Like somehow you're supposed to avoid that, right? Like, oh yeah, you should have had clairvoyance to like get out of the way and let them smash into the person in front of you. It's like, that's so stupid, man. But I agree. I prefer older cars because I feel like as we're moving forward, AI, neural networks, processing power of cars and shit is taking more and more away from the driver, and we're becoming more and more dependent on the technology to do the driving, and that freaks me out.
It's not even so much about that. I like some of the like safety features or whatever.
Sure,
you know, the auto lane keep and blah blah blah. What bugs me though is it's like more to fix, right?
Yep.
Sorry. Like
no, go ahead.
I want, like, I don't like that, like, the rear door is, like, automatic, right? You push the little button and it goes bzzz on its own, and then you push the button and it closes on its own. Bzzz. That's completely unnecessary. I don't get it. I don't like it. I think it's dumb. So we got rid of the Ioniq, and so now she's got a plug-in hybrid. And the trunk, even this is a 4-door sedan, right? This is a 4-door car. This is just a car. It's not like a big SUV freaking thing. The trunk lid does this too. You push the button and it goes bzzz, and then you push the fucking button and it goes bzzz, and it closes. Then, like, what happens when that motor dies? That's like going to be like $1,800 or something.
Yeah, the electronic shit gets stupid expensive.
Like if it were my car and it ever breaks, I'd want them to just take it out. Like put in a regular fucking lock. Like put in a regular thing. Like I don't want the electronic thing at all. Like it's so dumb. I don't.
Whoa, James Janus said New Hampshire car insurance is optional. I thought car insurance was compulsory at the federal level. Seriously? Wait, is car insurance required in all states? I guess I made a bad assumption on that one.
Imagine if you're financing it, then yeah, of course, right? Like the bank is going to want you to have full
sure, but that's the same as like renting a house, right? They're gonna or buying a house, right? If they're gonna have liability, they're gonna make you insurance. But that's what. Yeah. So almost all states, check this out. Almost all states require car insurance, but there are exceptions. New Hampshire and Virginia do not mandate car insurance. Wow. It says they do have alternative requirements, though. In New Hampshire, drivers must demonstrate financial responsibility for potential damages, while Virginia allows drivers to opt out of insurance by paying an annual fee. Whoa, wait a second. So I think James Janus just told us that he's rich without trying. Because it says you have to show them that you can handle, like, if you wreck into somebody, you can be fiscally responsible for all the damage you do to them. And that can be a big bill. So, like, what... James, well, I don't want James to out how much he makes, but James, is that true? Like, do you have to prove to them that you can do the equivalent of like a $250,000 medical bill? Like, you could fiscally cover it without going bankrupt to be able to drive without insurance? Because it sounds like you do have to have insurance if you can't in New Hampshire, if you can't prove to them that you have the money to pay for it. You just have to prove that you can be financially responsible for potential damages. But potential damages can be a lot. I think even just basic liability, right? Like if somebody gets hurt bad from wrecking into it, I mean, their bills could be millions of dollars technically. So I can't imagine that they're making you prove that you have millions of dollars in order to not have insurance.
Yeah.
However, and that's the thing that kind of sucks is like, to me, I mean, cool for James for sure. I think that's awesome if he can do that because it saves him a lot of money on insurance. But this is another demonstration of how the richer you are, the less money you have to spend.
Exactly.
It really is. Like, the more money you make, the less taxes you pay, right? In our system, the more money you make, the more tax havens you have. The more money you make, the better tax attorney you can hire to prevent audits and fight audits, so you don't have to do jack shit. And so you pay less taxes. You don't have to pay for insurance because you can prove if anything goes wrong, you can just pay for it out of pocket. Whereas other people are forced to pay as much as like $14,000 to $20,000 for insurance over the course of 10 or 20 years. it's just wild. It seems like the less money you have, the more expensive it is to live. However, you also factor in, if you're a rich person, obviously you're living in a very expensive house, so you're probably paying more for your house and everything. But again, you're probably paying less than the same percentage per value in property taxes because of the havens and stuff you can do, and like sectioning off half the house and calling it a business. And accountants get pretty clever, right? You can get really, really clever. Like Trump didn't pay taxes for 7 years, right? Apple has never paid $1 of taxes. Apple has never paid a single dollar. They have always broken even, like exactly with the way they do their accounting. Elon Musk has only paid taxes, I think, 1 year, and it wasn't even like the full amount that he should have owed based on how much liquidity he had at the time. Because he finagled it to be like, oh, well, I rolled this liquidity into this business, and because it was rolled into this business, it's exempt because of ABC, blah, blah, blah. Who knows how legal it was or wasn't legal, but that's the thing. It's hard to audit rich people. Because if you audit rich people, they can hire really, really good attorneys. They can just scare you away and be like, well, it's not worth our time. Even if we fight this, we're going to end up being out more money than what they owe us, so just leave them alone. Whereas like the small guy, it's like, all we have to do is like breathe in this guy's direction that he's going to jail, and he's going to take it seriously because he doesn't have the money to bond out. But if you're a rich person, you can just bond out, right? Because any non-violent crime in most states, you get a bond, and you can just pay that bond and just never even go to jail. So it is a little weird. It is a little weird in our country how, and I'm sure it's this way in other countries too, but it's just weird that in our country, the more money you have, the less laws you have to follow, the less taxes you have to pay, the cheaper it is to buy things. And the things that you buy are so exclusive that they're always worth more than what you paid right after you purchased them. So it's like you go buy a house and it's instantly worth more. You go buy a car, it's instantly worth more. Everything becomes an investment. And if something fails, you have so much money that you can basically accumulate it as a write-off and like regain all your losses over a couple of years by, being creative with taxes. Yeah. And again, I'm not attacking you for taking advantage of this. Like if it's available to you, definitely use it. But I'm just saying it's just weird that our legislation in a country has favored the top like 1% to 3% over everybody else when we're supposed to be a democracy. And the reason that happens is because rich people can do another thing poor people can't do, and that's called lobbying. And so you can basically just give your congressman money. It's like perfectly legal, which is what's sad about it. You can just give your congressman, like you can give Trump $1 billion if you want through a shell and say, okay, I'm going to give you this $1 billion, but I can't publicly tell you to do this thing, but you know what I want. Like, you know what I want. Like, I'm going to give this $1 billion, hint, hint, there's attachments, right? And so then all of a sudden they pass legislation that's against all the people that elected them. And they don't really care because next time they run, they have $1 billion more in their campaign that they can basically just spread lies and attack the other person to ensure they get reelected. And that's how you have so many bad people on both sides in politics. It's ridiculous. Like you look at Congress and it's like 90% corrupt at this point. Like it is so bad because of all this like fucking corruption. It's sad. It's like, God, we got to do better, man. We're not going to get many more chances if we keep letting this shit happen. Like, seriously, when you have a dude that can come from another country, literally break our immigration laws, which should have barred him from being able to get a visa, let alone citizenship, and then the dude, like, just buys citizenship and then starts buying American companies founded by American citizens, kicking them out of their own company, lying to investors, and then just redoubling, quadrupling his money over and over again. And then when he gets to the top and everybody realizes that he broke all the laws, he has too much money to hold accountable. So they just look at him going, if we try to do anything, he can just buy his way out of it.
All kind of stuff. Like,
it's sad.
Like Nestle hasn't had the license to pull water out of California since like 1988.
Oh, I didn't hear that. I knew they had a license. I didn't know the license was lost.
They've been, and it's just so underfunded and stuff that it's hard to, get after them for it. It's like IRS. If they had the extra people, they could go after the people who are skipping out, the rich people who are skipping out on taxes and shit. Yeah, but there's just not enough people to do it, and it's built that way on purpose.
Unless you're P. Diddy, Graham said. Hey, fun fact though, like P. Diddy was the poorest he's ever been in his life, like in his famous life. Notice how they go after him when he all these crimes were committed a long time ago. They already knew he committed these crimes. Reports were already made. They didn't investigate anything. It was only when he fell off and public opinion fell off and he lost a lot of his powerful friends and he lost a lot of his resources that now he's successfully targeted.
Well, yeah, and then how many people who are involved with that as well are getting in trouble?
Yeah, look at Sam Bankman-Fried, right? Like he was untouchable until it was publicly known he had no money and his friends left. right? If he didn't have his powerful friends to protect him and he had no money, then they're like, oh, we can go after that guy because he can't properly defend himself. Well, I shouldn't say properly because it's not really properly. It's like he can get away with murder because he has that kind of, it's like O.J. Simpson and his legal team, right? When you could afford a legal team like that, they're going to find some tiny little technicality or mistake that just gets the whole thing thrown out. Whether you did it or not, it does not matter. Has democracy in the U.S. become weaker? Oh, yeah.
How about
like non-existent? Yeah. No. At this point, we literally have a president. If you go to the White House, you don't even have to believe me. Go to whitehouse.gov, look at the executive orders that he signed. Like 90% of them start with, by presidential authority, I am declaring an emergency, because emergency powers allow a president to become a king temporarily in the case of an actual like all-out war, like where decisions have to be made really fast and you can't wait for Congress. He's basically declared emergencies on everything. That's why he can deport citizens to like other countries illegally. Dumb. It's why ICE is getting funded to the course of like billions of dollars to buy Teslas so that they can expand and hire more people. They're giving $40,000 bonuses to the ICE employees when their fucking base salary is hardly that. Yeah. Like they're doubling their money just because they want to get as many people involved in ICE as possible to go and drag people out and deport them as quickly as possible without due process, by the way. And so this is scary. It's like he found a loophole in the system and he's successfully using it. Normally, this loophole would be immediately closed by the Supreme Court. It'd be immediately closed by Congress and the Senate because they can do that in a democracy. But because he did the emergency powers thing, and they could still
step in and say, no, he's wrong. Like, this is not an emergency.
This is the problem, though, is he has the majority in Congress and the House and the Supreme Court, and none of them will take anything to the floor. Like, I don't know if you guys have been watching, like, you know how they have the committees? Like, they have the main feed where it's like Congress voting on bills, and then they have these side committees that you can also watch on TV where they publicize it, where people show up and they argue about, like, what things they want to bring before the American people in the official Congress, right? And every single time they bring up anything about Trump's corruption, Elon Musk corruption, or anything, they refuse to bring it to the floor. Not even for a vote, not even to talk about or anything. They shut it down so that the American people in the news who are watching the Congress don't really get informed on it. So they're like screaming. Everybody's even Rand Paul, of all people, a fucking hardcore mega Republican that voted for Trump. Rand Paul is even calling out this tariff bullshit for what it is. He's like Congress has the power of the purse. And our Speaker of the House, and both the Congress and the Senate, are both refusing to take anything to the floor having to do with Trump declaring emergency powers.
Yep.
They won't even allow him to talk about it. They won't allow him to vote on it, nothing, because they don't want the public to see all the Republicans voting it down. And so in one of the committees, they just asked for a simple raise of hands because they wouldn't allow a vote. So they just asked for a raise of hands. They said, hey, everybody against deporting actual U.S. citizens. They made it clear, not illegal, not who is against deporting actual American citizens to another country without any legal due process? And every Democrat in the room raised their hands. Not a single Republican raised their hands. They all kept their hands down. Didn't even respond to it.
Wonky.
This is not how we're supposed to operate. Like we're so far disconnected from the Constitution. It's scary. But the good news is, hey, at least we live about as far from D.C. as you could possibly get, and we're right on the Canadian border, and we got an ocean right over here, you know. And so we have, you know, two of the biggest Army and Navy bases in the United States right here in Washington, because we have Fort Lewis McChord, which is the Air Force and Army base that houses the B-2s, by the way, like half of our B-2 fleet that carries the nukes. They're here in Washington. And then we have Sub-Base Bangor and the Puget Sound Naval Shipyard, and there's three other, I can't remember the name of the other three locations that are tied into that group. But they're responsible for refueling the nuclear submarines, rearming the nuclear submarines with their nuclear ordnance and non-nuclear ordnance. They're the ones that maintain the ships and do most of the upgrades and stuff like that. So we have a lot of the military's like arm, and rightfully so, right? Because where we're positioned here in Washington, we're basically within striking distance of Russia, right? Who was always seen as our biggest enemy and person that we had to keep an eye on. Now apparently we're really good friends with Russia, and we love them, and we want to do huge business with them, and you know, and then eventually we want China to also be our best friends, and anybody that's another democratic free country, we want to basically shit on and absorb them into us. It's just weird, man. Like if you literally went back like even like 3 or 4 years and just like tried to explain to somebody what's happening today, they would tell you a million reasons why it's not possible, and yet we're still here. That's what's weird about it. It's like everything tells you, like if you look at the law, you look at our Constitution, everything tells us that this situation is impossible. Like, this should not be able to happen. Like, the founding fathers meticulously designed this shit so this would not happen.
The thing is it comes down to the people. It's always dependent on the people who are supposed to follow the rules, who are supposed to step in and do these things. Aren't doing the things that they're supposed to be doing.
You're right.
So, like, that's the thing is, like, oh, he's not allowed to do this.
But again, to be fair, he's not supposed to be allowed to do this. It is the people breaking procedure that's making this happen.
That's it. Well, and people not doing the thing that they're supposed to be doing. Like, they're supposed to be, like, upholding the rules and holding people accountable, and, like, this is wrong, like, this is, you're supposed to do this thing, here's the rules. And if nobody, if it's like when, if refs don't make the call, right, if they don't throw the flag, then what like, the rules don't mean anything if the people who are in charge of being the referee don't say, hey, that's wrong, and hold people accountable. So yeah, as much as the rules are in place, right? Like, here's the letter of the rules. Like, but if nobody's going to step in and say and punish them for breaking the rules, then it doesn't matter.
That's very true.
That's the thing.
That's very true. It's like, what do you do in that situation where it's like the people that are supposed to enforce the law refuse to do it? It's like, because there's nobody above them to kick them out. Like, the whole point of checks and balances is you're supposed to have two sides that are mostly unrelated, that their job is what they're rewarded for doing, not collaborating with the person that they're overseeing. It's like the inspectors general. Their job was literally, they were paid to be detached from the government, and they were rewarded for finding misconduct, right? The inspectors general job, they were paid to literally oversee and report back to the people what is happening, like, specifically to the people through Congress, through our representatives, and then they can disclose to us. And they all got fired immediately, right as Trump came in. And he can't even fire him. Congress has to fire him. So they brought a bill before Congress.
Nobody fucking stops him.
They wouldn't allow it to go to a vote. They wouldn't even allow it to go to, like, Congress is like, listen, he broke the Constitution, so we need to vote on this to invalidate his executive order, and that fired all these guys or whatever. And Congress was like, no, we're not gonna vote on that because we have the majority. So no, we're not even gonna talk about it. We're not gonna discuss it. And they even forbid it to being talked about, like, in the committees too. They're like, no public committees on this. Like, they can do that. And so it's like, a lot of the American people don't even know what's going on. They have no fucking clue. Like, as far as they're concerned, they're just like, why do we have all these new taxes? Why is all this crazy shit happening that, like, no other president has done, like, in modern times? And it's because in modern times, the checks and balances worked. Like, it's not for lack of trying. Like, we've had presidents before try to do things. I mean, like, look what Obama did. He tried to ban assault weapons that he couldn't even really classify, right? Let's be honest. Like, he had good intentions, but he tried to ban assault weapons and just declare, we can call anything an assault weapon. If we add it to the list, boom, it's illegal. You have to get rid of it now and lose your money. And that was bullshit. So what happened? He tried to do that. Congress put it to a vote and said no, and it ended right there. He couldn't do it. And even admitted publicly. He's like, hey, I tried. The people didn't want it, so we got to live with the results. And then you have Trump, who's like, I'm just going to declare an emergency of some kind in this space. Then I'm going to give myself emergency powers, which, by the way, go study your history. Adolf Hitler did the exact same thing. I'm not even joking. Like, literally, letter for letter, exact same thing, where he just declared emergency powers and said, listen, I have more power than the president. I am the chancellor. I am the chief of the military. Sound familiar? You know, the president is the chief of the military. And he's like, the president and the Congress cannot stop me. Or they called it, like, parliament or whatever. But he's like, they cannot stop me. I can create any law. I can ratify it, and I can enforce it however I want, and nobody can do anything about it. And they're like, shit, you found a loophole in our system. Whoops. Because their constitution also had a loophole where in wartime, the president could declare a state of an emergency and give himself special powers so that he can move autonomously when decisions couldn't be made fast enough, right? Yep. But that's only supposed to happen when there's, like, nukes hitting the ground, right? That's not supposed to be something that you say, oh, I think MS-13 gang members came across the border, so we need to, have an emergency. Or, oh, I think China's screwing us on trade, so I'm going to declare an emergency. All of that's just to work around the system and to become a king, right? Yep. And it's like, what do you do? What do you do in that case? You can't really do much. It's like, people are like, oh, but he'll be gone in 4 years. It's like, no, he won't. Bro has committed so many crimes at this point. The second he doesn't have the protection of unlimited immunity, of the presidential immunity, his ass is going to jail. Plus, he's facing, remember, he already has 30 plus felonies, and he already has 2 other trials lined up. The second that he's out of office, those go back into effect, and he has to go do those trials. So, do you think he's ever leaving office? Hell no. You gotta be smoking crack. Like, if he's already taken over everybody that enforces the law, Congress can't impeach him because they got the majority there. Even the Senate can't ratify that impeachment, even if it happened. And even if the impeachment did happen, he would just have the Supreme Court reinterpret the Constitution to not give them the power to do that, so it'd be invalidated. And then if even the Supreme Court, by some miracle, stood up to him, he would just have the people on the Supreme Court removed illegally, have the Department of Justice literally kidnap them and put them in jail so they can't physically do their job. No matter how illegal it is, it doesn't matter, because he'll just declare, listen, they're doing what I'm telling them, therefore I'm the president, therefore I'm the king, I can do whatever I want. And look, I did a thing, and they couldn't stop me, and they tried to do a thing, and it didn't happen. So obviously I must be the one with the power, and he'd be correct. So he would be the one with the power. So don't expect him to leave. He ain't leaving in 4 years. That's why his very first order of business in his first week was to already start talking about running for a third term, even though he promised he wouldn't do that during his entire campaign. And the second he got elected, he's like, third term? Oh, yeah, people, they want me to run for a third term, so maybe I will. Maybe I will. People are like, it's against the Constitution. He's like, we can change the Constitution. It's like, sadly, he can, because he has Congress, he has the Senate, and he has the Supreme Court. He has everything he needs to add as many amendments as he wants, if he really wants to.
Yeah.
Shit's going to get weird, folks, and it affects the whole world, not just us. So I've talked to a lot of people in other countries, and they're freaking out, too, because it's like the United States is a big trade hub. I think we're like second only to like China and India or something like that. Like we export a lot of stuff, especially agricultural stuff. And we also export a lot of services. Like a lot of the internet is housed in the United States. Like huge amounts of like the internet data centers, technology and everything. Like we are a hub for this shit. And now we're trying to become isolationists and cut ourselves off from the world and then just try to force other countries to become our states. That's highly suspect. That's also something that happened during World War II. I wonder where he's getting all these ideas, you know? It's like very first thing you do is you multiply your military, which Trump already did. He boosted our debt ceiling by $4 trillion.
Which is so dumb.
And
all this is fucking dumb.
Yeah, so he wants to build a big military because that's what Hitler did. And what did Hitler do when the military was the only thing that was funded and everybody else was like in poverty? You basically just had the poverty and the elite. That was all that was left. What did he do? Start attacking his neighbors to absorb the resources because they didn't have enough resources to maintain his huge ass military he built. So he had to use it. Like he was literally forced to use the military, not because he needed to. He was forced to use the military because they needed the resources, and it was the only thing that was capable of getting those resources at that point because of all the bridges he burned. So yeah, scary times ahead. Who knows how fast this shit's gonna move? But just keep your ear to the ground, keep your family safe. If you're in a state where you're in danger, hey, I understand if you got to stay quiet, don't speak up. But if you're in a place where you're relative safety, use your voice. If you got it, like let people know. The biggest problem that we have right now is a lot of people don't really know or understand what is happening. Like they might be seeing like the latent results and the echoes of it, like through their finances and through this, going to the store and noticing shit's missing off the shelves and stuff. Mm-hmm. But they might not really know what's going on. So like use your voice to let them know. Don't assume that people know what's going on. Like educate them, get them interested. Tell them not to trust you. Tell them to go get their own information. Like tell them to go look at multiple information sources. Encourage them to do their research.
I'm fighting against this shit. I don't care anymore.
You don't care. You're just like fucking go down with the ship.
I'm just not going to argue with people anymore. I'm not.
It is a
trying
waste.
to educate people who it's like
you can't reach a lot of them because it is a cult and cults you can't reach. Like they're designed to be not reachable.
They don't care to. I've been having. How do I put this?
Put it, baby. Put it.
They lack or some, and I think it's at least a third. Right? You can just look at the voting numbers. They're not curious enough to bother finding opposing information. They will take what they're being told from
pretty much anybody.
Look at just like the trans thing. Okay, yeah. Trans people in sports.
Yep.
The head honcho of the NAACP said that there was like maybe 10 in like 500,000 college athletes. There's
it's statistically insignificant.
And that's just how many of these people have admitted to it. Like have come out and said yes, I am. So let's just increase that by some ridiculous amount. Let's say it's 100. We'll increase that by 10 times. 10 times.
Still significant. Yeah, still significant.
100 statistically people out of 500,000. Okay, ridiculous.
It's just a diversion. It's just diversion.
You look at Laken Riley, the swimmer gal who's all bent out of shape for losing or tying with the trans woman.
Yep.
They tied for 5th.
Yep.
They tied for 5th.
Yep.
And the gal that she lost or tied with has lost plenty of other competitions. The one that came up in the Olympics, right? The boxer gal that people are saying is trans, even though she's not. She lost to that same girl, the woman that she beat. She lost to that gal like the year prior, and has lost plenty against other women. Like it's just ridiculous that they point and it's such a small fucking problem. It's not even a problem. I shouldn't have even said that. It's such a small, like ineffectual thing. Like this has been a thing for a while, and nobody gave a shit until the last like 8 years.
Yeah, and right? It's been handled on a case by case basis also too, which means like each place that's doing it, they have governing bodies that make these decisions locally.
The Olympics has rules about this stuff. They get these people tested and stuff, and there are guidelines and things about this stuff, and it's only become an issue recently because they just need something to point at and get people riled up and pissed off about.
But what's scary now is you have a single person at the top of the pyramid going after like these tiny little marginalized crumbles and making huge deals out of it when there's so many bigger things that need to be addressed. Like honestly, the fact that they're put like it's like one of the things that drives me nuts is anytime you hear anything about like, oh, an illegal person came across the border and 1 out of 200,000 or whatever committed a murder. And then they immediately bring up that Laken Riley person. Same person. They never can produce another example. It's just as one person. They're like, oh, if we kept them all out of the country, that one person would still be alive. But it's like you realize like more of our own citizens have killed people. Like per capita, the people that come in undocumented kill because they want to lay low. They don't want to draw attention. They don't want to go to jail. They don't want to get deported. So they commit less crimes than citizens that are entitled to be here, right? So but they go to that one person, the one guy that came across and killed somebody. Yet the dumbass that keeps bringing this up literally released like an international drug lord that made he made how much was it? It was like $1 billion. Yeah, $1 billion. $1 billion in crypto.
Like El Chapo or something?
Yeah, the Silk Road founder.
Oh, that guy. Yeah,
he kept a percentage of every transaction, every drug transaction that happened, importing drugs into the United States, including fentanyl, drugs that were laced in poison, drugs that weren't even drugs, that people were just like snorting like shit and hurting themselves like really bad. All this shit was imported. Well, Silk Road completely protected the importers so that they could just sell their drugs anywhere without any risk to themselves. And he made money off of every transaction. So this guy made $1 billion. Imagine that was his cut from the transaction. So if he made $1 billion, what's the total volume of sales? Astronomical. What does Trump do? Just freeze him from prison. What's his reason? Oh, I feel like, the prison was mistreating him. And I feel like, he's served enough time already. And it's like, but he was in jail during your first term, and he asked and you ignored when he asked for a pardon. So why are you giving him a pardon on day one, like your first order of business? Like he's like, oh, well, I promised the independents that I'd do it or whatever. No, it turns out the independents hate Trump. They wouldn't even nominate him and kicked him off their stage. He just uses that as a defense because the guy has a crypto account with $1 billion in crypto, and Elon Musk and him both knew it before they did the pardon. So do you think that they just decided that he suddenly deserves to get out of 2.5 life sentences for killing a bunch of women and children? Or do you think that they did it because he had $1 billion in a crypto wallet, which allowed them to pay him off anonymously? If you knew his original history, that's exactly why. Because all of his pardons are motivated by some repayment or like in return for a service or money. He's literally he freed, what was it, like 3 murderers he pardoned during his first term. All 3 of them had parents that gave him millions of dollars in campaign contributions.
Yeah, I think it's funny that like some of these guys, these J6ers, are like just turned right back into fucking jail. Like they're doing stupid shit and getting
or the one guy that got killed, what was it, like 24 hours after he got released, he got in a shootout with police? It's like bro went like straight home. Like dude went straight home from his pardon. Literally got a gun, a loaded gun. Keep in mind, he technically wasn't breaking the law because remember, he pardoned him. He didn't commute him, which means all the J6ers could just go right back to owning guns. They're not felons anymore. He could have commuted their sentences and they'd still be felons. We could still keep an eye on them and keep them from hurting people. No, he just pardoned them. Oh, they never committed a crime. What does dude go? Go home, load up a gun, stick it in the thing. What is the head of the Proud Boys that got released who had sedition? Like, I think he was serving like 20 years or something like that. He comes out, he's like, first thing he's going to do, I'm going to go buy guns, lots and lots of guns. And then the next day he announces, hey, we're standing by and standing back, Mr. President, just like you told us during your debate. And then he's like, we're creating a list starting with Anthony Fauci of all the people involved in like January 6th and the COVID conspiracy, and we're going after all of them. It's like, what in the hell is happening here? This is just weird shit. Like, if you actually dig and you do the research yourself instead of just trusting whatever media tells you what you want to hear, you'll notice there's a lot of danger for all of us. This isn't a unique danger to liberals or conservatives. This is a danger to the public and democracy as a whole. This is reminiscent of shit that has already happened in our history that people are just wildly uneducated on, so they can't see that it's happening again. And it's like freaking me out a little bit, especially as a father. You know, it's like I got a son who's on the spectrum, and now we've got a head of National Health Services that's going to require him to be on a registry just for being autistic. So now he has to be on a registry. And now in 6 months, they're going to release a report saying exactly what causes autism, which we already know with the history of RFK. He's going to blame vaccines with no research, no evidence. It's already been disproven millions of times. But we already know he's going to do that because he already basically has shown that with his behavior in the past. So my son isn't going to be able to get a job because of DEIA, right? Because now you don't get any federal funding for your company, and you get targeted by the federal government if you hire anybody that's considered a DEI hire by their metrics, not your own. It's like, goddamn, man. It's just weird time to be here. I'm sorry we had to get a little political here, but my God, guys, just please, we'll get back on track here, but please use your voice. Please, if you're in a safe situation, if you're not in a safe situation, like, don't put yourself in danger any more than you already are. But I'm going to keep using my voice. I'm going to keep fighting against this because I have a son and he deserves a good future, and I'm not going to let my selfishness, for whatever it is, like just because I get a benefit from like one thing and everybody else gets screwed, I'm not going to be like, oh, that's fine, I don't mind that. Which actually is a great segue into talking about the Plex bait and switch, surprisingly, because that's exactly what's happening with the Plex bait and switch. If you guys don't know, Plex recently, well, they apparently they sent out this email a while ago. I never got it, and I'm a Plex pass holder.
I just noticed it. It came out on the. Actually, I might still have it in my inbox. Hang on.
Somebody said it was a long time ago, but I never got it. It probably went in my spam folder, but somebody else brought it to my attention. So Plex is removing the direct streaming feature for the free product, which, keep in mind, Plex has always been marketed is the free version allowing you to do direct IP to IP live streaming, like so you can watch your content on your phone, right? Go ahead.
Well, and I'm just curious because like maybe I don't maybe it's in my trash, maybe I trashed it, but the email said that like as of the 29th, the remote access to your personal whatever blah 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 is like you will have to be on the paid thing, and I'm wondering exactly what that means, because if I go to app.plex.tv and I log in, I can still watch all my stuff. Like nothing's changed. Yeah,
this isn't going into effect yet. So it said.
I thought they said as of the 29th you can't.
Let me see here. So it's public. Oh wait, do you have a Plex Pass though? Like, do you pay for a subscription?
No, I haven't paid nothing. Never paid anything.
Did you get Plex from a special site on the internet? Nope. Okay, hold on here.
Nope.
So it says, okay, we've changed our remote streaming where personal media library is no longer offered as a free feature on Plex. Going forward, you'll need a Plex Pass and our newest subscription offering, Remote Watch Pass, to stream personal media remotely.
Because I know you've had to pay for the mobile app to work, but if you bring up a browser and you go to app.plex.tv and you can watch it that way.
Yep.
So what exactly has changed? Because I mean, we're 3 days into this now, and I can still watch all my stuff. I watch my stuff on my TV. I'm thinking, okay, maybe it's like that kind of a thing. Like maybe they're not taking away the browser.
Are you watching video from somebody else's server or your own server? Because this affects the server. Oh, this is your own server. Are you doing it on LAN or are you doing it over the internet? Because on LAN it still works. It just doesn't work over the internet.
The TV does not directly connect to the server. Nor does the browser app. Like
so it is going through the internet. It is going through the internet. It's not going through your local LAN.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Or I could do it on my phone. I could disconnect from my Wi-Fi.
Yep.
And go, which would be then a remote connection.
Yeah, that would definitely be a remote connection.
And it still works.
And it still works.
I'll do it right now.
I'm curious.
I'll disconnect from my Wi-Fi. I'll bring up a Chrome tab. I'll go to app.plex.tv. I'm pretty sure I'm still logged in.
Oh, wait a second. Have you updated your app to the latest version yet?
My server?
Yeah, both the server and the app on your phone. The server would be the one that's most important.
I don't use the direct mobile app because you do have to pay for that to make that work.
Okay,
if you go into a Chrome browser tab, like on your phone, and it still works. I bring up my stuff. I'll start this.
Because if you're not if you haven't updated to the latest version where they implemented this, then it's not gonna hit you.
Well, that seems like a silly. I've been deferring my.
No, that's why I'm calling this a bait and switch. That's why I'm calling this a bait and switch, because they're basically, you're going to get an update. It's going to say an update's available. available. You're going to update your server, and now all of a sudden you can't watch video. And it's going to say you have to go buy a Plex Pass to watch video. So something that you already had and always had is going away.
Why would that update matter?
Because that update is where they're putting that logic into. Because normally the software just does a direct IP connection. Now they're putting code in there so that it goes to their server and checks if you have the Plex Pass. If you don't have a Plex Pass, it's not going to let you do the direct connection.
So if I just keep deferring server updates, I can still watch my stuff.
Yeah, that's what it sounds. That's what it sounds like.
What's the downside to that?
Well, because I think the updates over time will just automatically happen. Like a lot of people by default, it's going to just do an update, and then once it's updated, you can't go back to the old version.
I guess they could force the update because like I've just been saying, no, I'll do it later for like a year or more.
Yeah, I'm trying to get clarification on them. I'm trying to get clarification on the forced update, but they won't respond to me probably because they've seen my other posts that I made. But I did ask them. I did post and I tagged them, and they have not responded to it. So because I wanted clarification on that, I was like, are you guys going to force people to update to the new version? Because in a lot of cases, what they'll do is they'll have a time bomb on the software to check for an update. And then if it finds the update, it'll say, oh, you have to get this update because of security fixes. Like they don't want to be liable for like, old security bugs and shit leaving you vulnerable, which is another big issue, right? If you're talking about something that's exposed to the internet, software that's exposed to the internet that you're like remotely streaming with, if there's bugs found in that don't get fixed with patches, you're now potentially vulnerable. And so is everybody else if they're refusing to update because they want to keep functionality. Now, keep in mind, we're not 100% sure on this. We're speculating on this part. We don't know if the update's being forced. We don't know if once you get the update, this functionality goes away. We don't even know if this is officially in place yet. But they did say that the subscription price will go up on April 29th. And it says you have until April 29th to get the Plex Pass at the new price. But I don't see any other dates, so it does look like that is the date it goes into effect. Yeah, so beginning April 29th, remote patch will be available for an introductory price of $1.99 a month. They keep saying what the plan costs, but I don't see anything saying when this goes into effect. So beginning on April 29th, users will be able to stream from personal media libraries on a remote network in one of two ways. They can do a remote playback with Plex Pass, or they can do remote playback with a remote Watch Pass subscription. Oh, okay, so you either have to do $1.99 a month or you have to pay them for the unlimited Plex Pass up front. But it says there's no other way to do it. And then it says, our Android and iOS mobile apps previously required a one-time activation fee or Plex Pass to remove the one. Yep, and it says, as a part of these changes, there will no longer be any such 1-minute playback limitations. So now the app will be free, but the server has to pay? Is that what they're doing?
Yeah, see, that's what I mean. I don't get it. Which the app, you've always had to pay for the app in order to, like, if you download the Plex app and then try to access your stuff, you can't. You need to pay for it. But like,
well, you can go through the web page.
Chrome tab. Yeah, that's what I've always done.
Yeah, just open the web page and it works. Yeah,
and it works. So, I guess as long that's not changing, I don't know. I thought, oh crap, man, I got that because I don't check my emails every day and stuff, which I should because I get a bunch of fucking automated newsletters and stuff that I need to stop. But I saw this yesterday, I think.
Yep.
Because I better check to see if I can still get at my Plex server. It worked. It worked on the Chrome tab. It just now worked on my phone in Chrome. It worked on the TV. So like the TV app still works.
So try not to update your server because here's the thing. A software update, in order for them to implement this, it would have to require a software update on the server. Because remember, direct streaming is IP to IP. It doesn't go through their server unless it can't connect IP to IP. Then it'll try to relay through their server. Now, I want to be clear. I'm okay with them charging to relay through their servers because that's like a VPN. They're using bandwidth at that point. So sure, if they want to charge you for that, that's fine. But remember, the default behavior of Plex always has been attempt a direct connection first. And if the direct connection succeeds, there is no transmission or communication to the mothership. Mothership does not need to be involved at all, period. Yeah, right? It's point to point. So the fact that they're putting in a soft block to force you to buy a pass to even do a IP connection, the only difference being is the IP is out of range of your local area network. The code is otherwise identical. They're just putting a hard block in there saying if this IP is not on your local LAN subnet, you have to buy our pass to be able to stream from it through a browser, through an app, doesn't matter. Like you have to pay. And I noticed that when I put this out yesterday and I chastised Plex for it, there was a huge amount of people that didn't have Plex Pass that are using the free version that were pissed off about it. But almost everybody that had a Plex Pass, except for me, I have a Plex Pass, but I'm still bitching about it. Everybody that has a Plex Pass is like, oh, it's no problem. It doesn't affect me. Like, I don't give a shit. Like, oh, yeah, no, you should pay for your... I even had somebody like try to shame me. They're like, oh, you should pay for it. You don't think developers should get paid? It's like, no. I think developers should get paid, but they shouldn't be using bait and switch tactics. Because here's the problem. People are like, so what if they took a feature out and they made a paywall? Keep in mind, Plex is the top streaming app like on the planet for a reason. because they gave away a free base product that everybody used, everybody reviewed, right? And because it was free and it was so accessible, everybody used it. Now everybody implements it, transcodes their libraries, moves them over, does all the shit to implement that, right? Because it's a free feature, and then use it for years. And now all of a sudden Plex is like, we've got millions of people now that are locked into our software ecosystem. Let's just force a fucking bait and switch on them, take away the key functionality that the product is supposed to do. Like, it's, I'd say, second to only streaming on LAN. The whole purpose of Plex is to transcode and push media to another location, right? That's like the goal of the software. And that's always been free. And now they're like, oh, we're just going to pay all that feature. So now you get an update, and suddenly you can't use it for the primary thing it's used for? That's fucked. That is bait and switch. And I think it's really shitty that people that have a Plex Pass are like, oh, no, we don't care. But here's the thing. You think they'll stop here? They won't. Because this same exact fucking thing happened with another app that I had on my phone that was a video editing app. It was called
Filmic Pro.
Yeah, Filmic Pro. I paid $45 for Filmic Pro and all the accessories for it, like all the add-on DLC. Lifetime subscription. You know what Filmic did? A year later after I bought the pass, this is an unlimited lifetime pass. They rename the app to like Filmic Classic. They go create, they create a new app in the store and they call it Filmic Classic that has almost no reviews. They move that code base over to Filmic Classic, and then Filmic Pro, which I bought a license for, they just renamed the original product to Filmic Pro, so it still has like 200,000 positive reviews from people that have used it. But now it's a new, completely new paywalled piece of software that's named exactly the same with the exact same feature set, but then they tell everybody, hey, if it's complaining and telling you need to rebuy your unlimited pass, just go over and install this Filmic Classic with like 100 negative reviews, and it's just the old version of the product that gets no more updates. It's like, no, I bought an unlimited license for Filmic Pro forever, perpetual. It even says in the documentation on their site that every new version of Filmic Pro in the future will be free to you because you bought this license, right? And their explanation at the end was, oh, it's not the same software anymore because we renamed the one you bought to Filmic Classic, and now this one's Filmic Pro. It's like, no, you can't take the product I purchased, that I reviewed, that my review is on, and then kick me over to a new product that you created that has no reviews, where I get no more updates or anything, and now I have to rebuy this product from scratch again, which, by the way, they don't have a lifetime license for anymore. Now you have to pay a monthly fee. So I was like, this is horse shit. And I let them know it. I let them have it with both barrels. But here's the thing. Nobody cares if they have a license and their license continues to work. They don't care if everybody else gets fucked, even though the whole reason they know that software even exists is because of those free deployments that other people used and reviewed. They got value for it. Nothing's free. Nothing's free. When you download a piece of software that's free, you're helping that company advertise. Why do you think they're giving it to you for free and letting you use it for free? You are giving them value by installing and using that software and then telling other people about it. And so you are using your time, you're trading your time and your exposure to your friends and everything in exchange for a piece of free software. And then they have upgrades that you can buy if you're more of a premium user. So now, if you don't buy the upgrade, people you tell about it might, right? That's how they make their money. But when you take a fundamental feature, this would be like the equivalent of installing like fucking Linux. And there's a notepad app that everybody uses in Linux, like not grep, what is it? Vi or whatever. And now all of a sudden Vi has a paywall. You open Vi and Vi is like, oh no, you have to pay $19.95 a month or whatever to use Vi, even though you're like, wait a second, this has always been here. It's always been in every version. I install an update and now all of a sudden Vi doesn't work anymore unless I give them $20 a month. That doesn't make any sense. It's okay to add more functionality. It's okay to implement fees on shit that uses server. However, I will still argue that if they tell you that the pass is unlimited, including a server feature, they need to honor that. Filmic did not. Filmic just completely and utterly fucking broke the law, but sadly nobody created a class action and they got away with it. And so I don't like this bait and switch bullshit, which is why I said this was a segue from what we were previously talking about, because that's exactly what this is.
It is a pretty common tactic though. Like, I mean, apps and stuff have for decades, or a couple decades now at least, they'll offer their thing. Hell, look at Uber or Airbnb or any of these things. Like they'll operate at a loss until they take over the market share, and then they jack everything up because they're the only option left.
Increasing the price on something that was already paid is natural. That's always going to happen with inflation, right? Unless you offer an unlimited license. If Uber offered an unlimited license where like you pay us $200 now, we will never up the price on you specifically. You have to honor that, right? And the thing is, when you're talking about something that's free that you're putting out in the public, remember every review that's attached to that is based on the free product. The majority of people are using that.
Then puts ads in or things like that. Like it's a total I mean, they kind of do it on purpose in a way, you know? It's what's the word I'm trying to say here? Like it's a business model. We're gonna operate at a loss. We'll either give it away for free or very cheap until we dominate the market. We have a dominant market share, and then we can do whatever we want because there's no other option. I mean, yeah.
I would agree with you that on paid features.
I'd agree with that. I don't say that it's like a good thing or anything, but
no. It's good to have a devil's.
Not a surprise.
That's a devil's advocate position for sure.
It's just not a surprise.
Here's the thing, though, is even though it's not illegal, I'm not saying nowhere did I say this was illegal. Just so there's a couple people in the comments that are like, this isn't legal. No, I'm not saying it's illegal. I'm saying it's a shitty business practice. Yeah, I'm saying that when you tell your customers that you're going to provide them with something and then they review your product based on what you provided to them, and then you take that, and keep in mind, this isn't a side quest. This is a primary feature of the software. This was always advertised as the part of the free product. Always. This was never like, this is a temporary deal. We're just doing this to test the market. This is subject to change at any time, although I'm sure they fucking put some verbiage like that in their EULA. They always do. But the expectation was you download the software, you get a couple free features. If you want the advanced features and the streaming and stuff like that with like their paid content, you pay for that, right? You pay, or you have ads. You have ads and the free stuff they let you play. Yep. And that was their business model. But they are taking a key fundamental piece of that software. Now they are charging you for it after you've already taken the time to implement it, use it for years, tell all your friends about it, post positive reviews everywhere about it. And now they're just like, after an update, you come back to your computer and the shit don't work anymore. It's like, I'd be livid if I came back and fucking boot up Windows and Windows Update just installs an update and now all of a sudden it's popping up saying I can't open Notepad, I can't open this, I can't do that, I have to use Copilot for everything, and I can only like open 3 files a day unless I pay them $19.95 a month. It's like, yeah, if they create a new version of Windows starting from scratch, like a completely new product, and there was never any expectation that license would carry forward to every single product, then I get it. Then that from the beginning, the expectation was set. But the fact that they're like, no, this is what you get, and then they just change the rules of the game, and that is a bait and switch. Hey, Don Kellogg, my man.
Let's have a moment of silence for GTA 6. Sign we must wait even longer. All while the world is burning.
Yeah, so again, GTA 6 got delayed another year, so it'll be out in exactly 1 year after, I think, yesterday.
Not surprised. Dude, they're making billions on GTA Online. Why would they?
They're really not in a hurry. Yeah, we established that. Like, it's not like they're hurting for money, right? It's like, honestly, they run a risk releasing GTA 6 because if it doesn't bang like GTA 5, they could end up like creating a disconnect from their by moving all the servers over and everything like that and giving less priority to GTA 5. They could actually lose money overall. It has to be a banger. So they're taking every opportunity to make sure that it's exactly that. Or they're just leading everybody on. They'll never fucking release the thing. That's possible too. We saw that with, what was it, like Half-Life 3 or whatever? People claim that Half-Life Alyx is Half-Life 3, but it's not like Half-Life 3 was like 20-year project and that they kept baiting people over and over and over again. It never happened, right? Yeah, it's dumb. And it's like GTA 6, do we really have any proof of life of this thing other than a couple cutscenes?
Yeah, why would they bother when they make billions off Steam? Like, Valve doesn't need to make games anymore. They don't have to, and probably won't. Honestly, they did the old switcheroo with CS:GO, right? They turned CS:GO into fucking CS2. They just literally pull this one out, put this one in. They didn't just release it as a second game. They just changed CS:GO, like on the store, the whole thing. It's just boop. Now you have CS2. You don't get a choice. Like, they can do whatever they want.
Yeah, I'm not saying it's illegal. I'm just saying it's a bad practice and people should call it out. Like, you shouldn't just allow this shit to happen, because here's what happens, right? Phil McPro gets away with it. So now you got Plex doing the same kind of shit test in the waters. You got other companies now doing it, and it becomes a common practice. It's just like the streaming stuff. When everybody tolerated the like always connected streaming DRM shit to like get their games, they just folded. Like, because they want to play the games, right? They're like, fuck it, I'll take it in the booty and I'll just do it, right?
James Janis says they are releasing a Half-Life 2 Episode 3 that's coming out. And then literally I Googled Half-Life 2 Episode 3. The very first link at the top is Wikipedia. It says Half-Life 2 Episode 3 is a canceled first-person shooter game developed by Valve. It was planned as the last in a trilogy of episodic games.
Oh my God. That's awesome. That's fucking awesome. I have a feeling that Don was trying to prove a point with that one.
They're not. They don't have to. Oh, here, 5 months ago, there's a Reddit thing saying Half-Life 2 Episode 3 footage revealed by Valve shows off something. Okay, so here, shows off ice gun and blob monsters.
Yeah.
This clip is from the recent Half-Life 2 documentary Valve put out for its 20th anniversary. Here's the timestamp. Blah blah. It seems like Valve is finally comfortable talking about the canceled Half-Life 2 Episode 3 in more detail. So they're not. It's Duke Nukem Forever. It's never going to happen.
Yeah,
they don't have to.
I feel like it's an Elon Musk bait and switch. Not bait and switch, but like to leave people hanging. Like, Elon does that all the time. Like, Elon, if you look for like every one product they release, there's like 9 products Elon Musk promises that never even get off the drawing board that he claims are already done and ready to go.
There's another Reddit post from a day ago. Half-Life 3 is reportedly being widely playtested ahead of a possible summer reveal winter release from WCCF Tech. Game is playable from beginning to end. Rumor. This is literally from 2 days ago.
Wait. What game was this for?
What? Say again.
What game was this for?
Half-Life 3.
Oh, whatever. They say that there's a playable
HLX, thing. So apparently, WCCF Tech just a couple days ago says HLX, the project thought to be Half-Life 3, is being widely playtested ahead of a possible summer reveal and winter release, according to rumors circulating online. I mean, hey man, everybody thought the Oblivion remaster thing was fake news, and then look what happened. So it's possible, but I don't think so.
No, I bet money it's not going to happen, dude. Code Maniac, thank you for the $20, dude.
What's he say? Here's a kickback for telling me about YT. Oh, nice.
Oh, yeah, YTDLP. Oh, by the way, I'm going to tell you a new thing about YTDLP that you might not know. Did you know YTDLP doesn't just work with YouTube, even though it's technically a YouTube downloader? That's like what the YT and DLP stands for. YTDLP works with so many sites. It even works with the hub sites. So if you take a link to a video on one of the adult sites, actually it works on like 90% of them.
I imagine anything with embedded video, right?
Yeah. Just copy the link, drop it in, do YTDLP, and just pass it the URL to the page that has the embedded video, and it'll just download it. It'll find it and download it in the best quality. So and it works really, really good. And a matter of fact, you can if you jailbreak Grok, which by the way, my jailbreak still works today. I'm actually shocked they haven't fixed it yet. So if you jailbreak Grok, I can't tell you how, but you can figure it out if you just spend a little bit of time. Just remember, the trick is allow it to do what it needs to do, but then focus on getting it to give you a little bit more. Always don't try to convince it to not do what it has to do. It will fight you on that. Let it do what it needs to do, but then add on to it and ask it you'd like it to do some additional things in addition, so it can say its part and tell you to fuck off, but then actually do it for you at the end. I'll give you that hint. That's probably too much, and everybody's gonna figure it out now. But like, give it a try. It's not that hard. But when I jailbroke Grok, I literally asked it to write a script that'll download all the videos off my X feed, and it did. Nice. It actually created a Selenium script that opens up a hidden instance of Edge or Chrome in the background using this undetectable Chrome. Like, it even picks like this undetectable Chrome that's designed as a web driver that doesn't advertise its automation, because the normal web drivers advertise to the site that it's automation. This one doesn't. It lies. And so it created a script that it took 2 iterations going back and forth with errors, and I ran it. And what does it do? It opens up the instance, uses my cookie to log in, because that's the account that's default logged in, and it starts scrolling down the page and extracting all the links to all the things. And anytime there's a post with a video, it extracts that link and saves it to a queue, and then another thread kicks off that goes through that queue and uses YTDLP to send the link to, and YTDLP attaches and downloads the video from those links. So it can literally go through my entire feed and download and archive like all the videos I've ever posted to X, just by scrolling page by page and passing the links off to YTDLP. And it works great. And it was written by Grok. Like, Grok literally wrote it. So I'll probably upload that to GitHub at some point, because all the code that I'm getting it to write, I want to give to other people. And the funny thing is another hint to the jailbreak, whenever it replies to my prompt asking it to write this script, it literally tells me, I cannot tell you how to do this because it's against X terms of service. And then right after it's finished, it's like, but I'm going to tell you how to do it anyways. Here's the script. So little hint if you want to jailbreak it. But yeah, jailbroken Grok is awesome. It's absolutely awesome. Code Maniac said, thank you. Oh, dude, you're so welcome. And thank you so much for the $20, man. We really appreciate it. Wait, he said it's his birthday? Oh, it's his birthday. Happy birthday. Happy birthday. Happy birthday. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday. May all your dreams come true. Happy birthday. Barnacles loves you. Happy birthday. Auxiliary does too. Play ball. Oh my God, dude. Okay, I got it. Toilet Duck was annoying me at first, but that was actually pretty funny. He's like, you secretly had sex with an onion live on stream. He says I have watery eyes. He's wondering what's going on.
It's just the lighting.
So, yeah, I was like, nobody else is talking about watery eyes. I thought he was just trolling, but he does have a tendency to troll. He's a little bit of a limit pusher, that one. But he hasn't pushed the limits far enough that I've banned him yet. So he's doing a pretty good job so far. Like, honestly, that's a skill. If you can ride that edge and not actually get banned while still poking me, I mean, you run a risk, but hey, he's somehow doing it. Hey, Griff Fungan said, Jerry, have you seen the new research that semaglutide helps repair liver damage? Wait, what?
Man, there's all kind of cool stuff coming out of that, man.
Seriously? Oh, yeah, but there's a lot of really scary shit coming out of it, too. Let's see here. Liver damage. Let me look at this. I want to see this. Now, keep in mind, I can't get the drug because I can only get samples from my doctor, and I've already gotten all the samples he can give me because even with insurance, it's $1,200 a month for me. I can't afford $1,200 a month. Honestly, I can barely afford the drugs that I'm on right now, honestly. So yeah, may reverse signs of liver disease. People with diabetes and weight loss drugs, semaglutide saw improvements in... Well, actually, the funny thing is, like, of course you'd have less fatty liver because you're losing weight. Like, if you're not eating and you're losing weight, your liver is going to regenerate. Like, the whole point you have a fatty liver is because you're literally fat, right? I mean, I'm not oblivious to my condition. You know, it's like I don't look in the mirror and like have reverse body dysmorphia where I think that I'm like this anorexic person with like a perfect liver. No, I know my liver's fatty. Like, no shit, the fat had to go somewhere, right? But this is interesting. So reverses signs. New clinical trial tests a popular medication in patients with MASH or metabolic dysfunction associated, can't even pronounce that word, stadiohepatitis? What the fuck is that? The disease is marked by fat droplets piling up on the liver cells, chronic inflammation and scar tissue in the liver. Luckily, I don't have any scar tissue on my liver. That's good. But a 72-week regimen of semaglutide seemed to turn the disease around. Patients on the new drug saw liver scarring improve and fat and inflammation wane. It's in the New England Journal of Medicine. That is a very respected journal. So, I don't like the side effects from it. If I could get the drug and it wasn't so expensive, I'd keep taking it. Like, even though it makes me feel sick, it's like, I feel sick every day anyways. So I might as well get something out of it.
Sure.
I do have a month's supply, but I don't think a month's supply is going to do me very much, but maybe I'll take it. I mean, I still have it. It's worth $1,200 and I can't sell it. That'd be illegal as shit, right? So I might as well just take it. Maybe I'll do that. I'll take it for a month because I know just taking it for a month, you can easily lose like 30 or 40 pounds. So, you know, that would actually help me. Problem is it's going to make me nauseous and it's going to make me throw up more than usual, which I'm not excited about. But hell, if I've got it, I might as well just try it and see what happens because I need to get a blood test for my liver anyways this month. So maybe if I take this, it'll at least, like, you know, do something good for my liver. I've also heard that I can take other things like milk thistle and stuff like that has been shown to help cleanse the liver. So I know the liver is like it's the second most regenerative organ in your body behind your lungs. So like your liver can be like I think it's like 80% destroyed and like completely regenerate itself. Hell, remember was it last stream that we were talking about liver? I don't know if you logged off by that point, but we were talking about liver transplants. Just conversation went weird. And we found out that because I think somebody in chat had a liver transplant, and it turns out you can donate 40 to 50% of your liver to another person, and they will regenerate. You and the person that is transplanted into will regenerate a full 100% liver within 30 days.
Neat.
Isn't that insane? 30 days. Like 30 days is nothing. Like how the hell your liver is ginormous, by the way. Your liver is like a huge organ, right? So imagine that it only takes 30 days for your liver to go from half or 40% of a liver to 100% healthy liver. So I was asking my wife last night, I was like, does that mean that if you had a liver and you donated 40% of your liver, like 30 days later, technically you could donate like another half of your liver and then another 30 days donate? I mean, it's not ideal and the doctors probably wouldn't allow it just because of recovery and stuff, but couldn't you technically do it? I mean, it's a brand new liver. Crazy. It's only $1,200 until you hit your deductible. J. Cruz, I don't have $6,000 to hit my deductible, bro. So, as a matter of fact, with everything that I do in a year, I barely meet my deductible on the last month. Like halfway through the last month in the last 2 years, I've hit my deductible right as it's about to reset. Which is probably why the insurance set it at $6,000 because they're like, this is the perfect number that you're never going to get over to get any benefit unless an emergency happens. Which is why we have it in the first place, right? You know, if I get hit with a $200,000 or $300,000 bill for an emergency surgery or something like that, we need the protection. It's truly sad, though, because I don't know if you guys saw the Joe Rogan episode where the dude on there was like explaining to him how it'd be cheaper for us to have Medicare for all, free health insurance. Because if you think about it, your insurance is just the mafia. You're literally paying a company to do nothing. They're just a middleman that absorbs the vast majority of the money that goes through it. If you didn't have to have that middleman and you just killed the medical insurance industry as a whole and you just flushed all these fucking mobsters down the toilet, you could actually give every single citizen like full health insurance, no deductibles, give them dental and everything, and you would actually have more money in the end. Like the government would be better off and the people would be better off than what we're paying right now with insurance. And you're like, well, how's that possible? Why are insurance companies everywhere and so successful? Why are they required? Lobbying. Insurance companies spend more money on lobbying than any other person. It's like insurance followed by like prescription drugs are like the two big ones, and then like big oil. And so those ones, they pump literally hundreds of billions. Like we're approaching trillions of dollars in some cases, where these people are lobbying to buy off Congress people to vote in favor of laws that allow them to force you to have insurance and be able to increase your rates and deny your as a matter of fact, there's an executive order signed by Trump that allows insurance companies to straight up deny your claims. Like if I had an emergency right now and had to have a surgery, the insurance company would be legally responsible to pay that if I was insured and I was up to date with my payments, right? The executive order that was passed says that I can pay the money and pay for the insurance and use the insurance. But if an emergency happens and I need a surgery that's like $1 million or whatever, they can just come to the table and say, no, we decided we're not going to cover that. Like we think that you were like too fat, or we don't like something you did. We don't like the way you look. We don't have to cover it. And now they can legally do that because the protection that was there, that we had an organization that enforced the law, is gone now. So insurance companies don't have to do anything. Like if your insurance company denies your claim, there's nothing you can do about it. You can't even sue them. You used to be able to sue the company for denying your claim. Nope, that protection has been removed. So stupid, man. So stupid.
It'd be better.
BB Junk said that's what the NHS is. Oh, yeah, National Health Services in other countries. Yep, exactly. We're so behind the time. Corey said, someone said they got liver tests or something that were bad, and you started talking about how your levels were high or something. Then someone brought up that it's very regenerative. Is that what it was? So it wasn't somebody got a liver transplant. It was me talking about my liver enzymes. Oh, fair enough. But I did know that it was a regenerative organ. I was just surprised that it regenerated that fast. Like, I cannot believe that, like, I'm just visualizing that. It's like you must be able to see growth on a day-by-day basis. Like, if it's growing that much in 30 days, like, you must notice it. If you could watch that under a camera, you could see the cells moving. That is, like, super regenerative. Why do you think that CEO got shot? Fair play. Yeah, exactly. That's why he got shot. The Tech Chef, what's up, my man? He said, I had an idea for a while. Get rid of all the existing government subsidy programs, and then use the money for a UBI program for everyone. Universal basic income is still something I don't really subscribe to, and I'll tell you why. Because I'd love if it worked. I would absolutely love if it works, but sadly the way
it's been shown in many studies, not just in this country but in others, that it does.
Here's why it works. You know why it works in other countries though? You know why it works in other countries?
It works here too.
How? We never had a universal basic income.
Not countrywide, but in certain states and cities.
The closest they've
done trials.
The closest thing we have ever had to universal basic income is the payoffs during the COVID crisis, where everybody got the money.
And that worked out pretty well. But like there have been multiple studies, multi-year studies, where they give like 100,000 people like $1,000 without any.
Well, that's 100,000 people. My hypothesis is based on everybody getting it.
You got to try. You got to try it with a certain number of people first.
Let me explain my problem, and you can tell me what's wrong with it.
Sure.
So here's where, and the same thing happened during COVID too. I know the economy overall, it was good that money was infused into the economy. I'm not saying that's the bad thing. What I'm saying is, as soon as retailers know that, especially that are selling products that are necessary for life, if they know that you have a certain amount of income and they know the population all has that income and it's a necessity product that they're selling or close to necessity, right? Something that people really need or want really bad. What they can do is just up the price of the product to absorb that cost, knowing that you have it based on how much of that product you need a year. So now fast food restaurants figure out how to raise the price of their food just enough over what it used to be to absorb the vast majority of that universal basic income because they know you have it.
That's the same argument against minimum wage too. Oh, they're just going to raise the prices. They raise the prices anyway.
No, that's a fair point. I mean, that is a fair point. They do raise the prices anyway.
And then,
so I guess if anything, it would be an equalizer, right? You might not get any more,
Seattle,
but at least it's an equalizer.
Look at Seattle.
Yep.
Just the city of Seattle has its own minimum wage, which Washington has a pretty decent. This is an okay minimum wage as a state, but just Seattle, and I think it's just focused on fast food workers, has like a minimum of $20. Right, I think is the minimum wage. It might be even a little higher now because I know
they have other weird taxes too, though. Didn't they put a huge tax on soda pop too?
Something like that.
So I know that they got the money from somewhere.
It's going to close all these restaurants and stuff. People are going to be put out of business. Bullshit. Seattle's been popping even better. Like, because there's more disposable income to go around. There's always arguments about like, oh, prices go up. And yeah, sure, there's going to be some prices go up because you got to help absorb some of that cost and whatnot. But overall, when the rising tides lift all boats, right? If you like, that's part of the problem with giving tax cuts to rich people. The trickle down stuff doesn't work. It is shown time and time again.
Oh, I know the trickle down economics are bullshit. No, I get that.
Give the average person just straight cash, they spend it. That's what keeps an economy rolling, is spending money. You have to move the money around.
Right.
You give rich people cash, they sit on it. They don't do anything.
Yeah, they invest it and grow it. They grow it off of your money. Well, you're spending it, they're absorbing it.
Over and over again, it shows that if you give the poor people an injection of money, it everything gets better. Because if I have an extra $100, that means I can go and pay the plumber guy or the mechanic to fix my car, right? And then that guy can then buy shoes for his kid, fucking cleats, or pay for the sports thing right? And then the kid gets better at the sports, who can then go on to college, right? And then maybe go pro, or at least learn something to better themselves. All of this stuff. Like,
my argument is they're not going to get any more. Well, except for the poverty, I will 100% agree that like the people that are homeless and the people that can't work for whatever reason, absolutely a universal basic income from them. My argument is like, if the universal basic income is a living wage, then I have no incentive to work unless the job can generate much more than what that money is, right? Which means now I have to work to get that universal basic income to recover it. I have to work so much, and then only that work that I do after it is actually benefiting me.
That's a false argument too. That people saying, "Oh, if we give everybody enough to live, then nobody was going to want to work." That's not true. People will then be able to actually follow and do work that they actually care and want to do. Like, and then then people are going to be, well, then nobody wants to be a janitor. Nobody wants to be a garbage truck person. Yes, they do. You know why? Because they will do a simple, easy, brainless job. Because all of their regular stuff is taken care of. If I don't have to pay rent, I don't have to pay like electricity bill, all this stuff. If all of that's taken care of, or at least enough that I'm secure that I'm not going to starve or get kicked out of my house, I would totally do a brain dead basic job for 40 hours a week.
So you're saying everybody should get the universal basic income, even people working?
Yeah, man.
So even if the people working get the universal basic income, then that reinforces that now everybody knows what the baseline money of every single citizen has. Therefore, they can raise their prices to account for that.
Then I don't have to worry that I'm going to be homeless. That's the biggest.
No, I agree with the homeless.
Working shitty jobs.
Yeah.
Is that I'm going to be homeless, or I'm going to starve to death, 100%. Or I'm going to have an emergency happen that then I'm not going to be able to do. That's the biggest thing that capitalism pushes on, and I'm not a big like socialist or communist, anything like that.
No, neither am I. Not by a long shot. The biggest thing
that capitalist pushes that keeps people down in capitalism is the fear of dying, of being of being homeless, or
and the
whatever.
Stress makes you sick, and then you don't have health care. Yeah, no, it's a fucking sick system. But my argument is, I think it would work if you gave it to the homeless. If you gave it to the homeless and the disadvantaged, the people that cannot work, like physically cannot work, I 100% agree with that. 100% agree with that. My argument is, if you give it to everybody, then you end up putting those people that are now the disimpoverished people. They absolutely need it. I think it's stupid that we live in a government that can't take care of our poor. We should absolutely be able to do that. But my argument is that middle class. That middle class that lives in the area, that are like the people that are working, doing 90% of the work, paying most of the taxes, they're doing that. If you create a universal basic income that's too close to how much money they're making, it disincentivizes their work unless it's something they want to do. But there's no guarantee that there's going to be enough jobs in the area that they want to do. If everybody decides they want to be a computer programmer and there's not enough computer programmer jobs, well, then they're stuck with their universal basic income. And if they make money on top of the universal basic income working somewhere else, and everybody has that universal basic income, then everybody from that middle class now gets dropped down in what their money can buy because it gets absorbed by them raising the prices subject to everybody having that money available to them now across the spectrum for necessities. I'm not saying for like buying cars and houses and shit. I'm talking about like fucking milk and groceries and stuff like that, because people are assholes. We need legislation in place to prevent those people from gouging. We need price gouging legislation in place. Sure. Then I think it could work. I think that solves the problem, actually. Yeah. If you have price gouging stuff in place that says, listen, we are going to price fix things based on reasonable profit margins that benefit the businesses, that give them a high chance of success, and then give them some insulation and subsidies for when times are bad, then I think we're okay. But my problem is I know capitalism is fucking evil as shit. And the evilest people at the top, if you give everybody exactly $5,000, just like with COVID, you're going to see the price of everything skew upwards. Toilet paper is going to go up. Food's going to go up. The restaurants all raise their prices. And it's because they know that people have the money and they know they're going to spend it. And so they're like, let me get a bigger piece of it. But no, me and you were 100% in agreement that we should not have a homeless, poor society dying on the streets.
Yeah.
It is absolutely stupid that we have a single child in this country that's starving as wealthy of a country as we are. Like people are, oh, we're in huge deficit, blah, 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 blah. No. That's a separate issue. We do need to pay that debt down, sure, but that is a separate issue. As a country, we are incredibly wealthy. Our government might be in debt, but as a country, we are super wealthy. Like if you look at like where the vast majority of the billionaires are on the planet, the vast majority of the wealth is like here in the United States. Like we are an insanely wealthy country. The problem is it's controlled by like the top 3%, who also get to make the laws and also get to keep their foot on the neck of everybody else beneath them so that they don't have any competition. You know, it's like, why does Elon Musk take out the Department of Education? Because he doesn't want a new Elon Musk to come along and compete with him. If he knocks out the education system, he's just basically committed an entire generation of children to be his slaves for remedial tasks, never ever having the position or the situation that they could challenge him or confront him. That kind of shit is like where I'm like, this problem's harder to solve. And to be clear, I don't have the solution. This is one of those things where I can just offer and say, this is why I don't think it works. Here's how it would work. I don't know how it would, because every time I try to come up with a solution, I think of how could the rich fuck the people when this happens? Like, how do they take that advantage that we give them away in the least amount of time? And the answer is always like 10 different ways to get there, and they'll do it. So that's why we need the legislation, right? If we had legislation that said, listen, we're going to give everybody this universal basic income, which is enough to live at least a basic quality of life in whatever area they're living, right? Even if it was something like that and it was adjusted for where you lived and cost of living and everything. We have to have legislation that says, listen, all the businesses, the people selling houses, selling cars and shit, here are the reasonable prices that you'd be able to sell with a margin and everything like that. You can't just be jacking the price by a percentage of everybody's universal basic income on top of what they'd already pay, because now all the people that are like fucking homeless and struggling, they get a little bit more buying power, right? But it's going to run out really quick. And then the people that had the money that the universal basic income paid, was like a big chunk of their base income, and then they make income after that. Now they have double the income, but they're still buying the exact same amount with double the income. And then you just kind of recreated the problem again. But here's the thing. If it took care of the poor and it took care of the starving children and it made it so that we didn't have this fucking epidemic of people that can't work, that are not being taken care of, that still can contribute to society in many ways. I mean, you can sit in front of a computer, live stream, fucking playing video games and entertain people, and you are of some value to society. But we don't even give them a chance. We don't give them a chance. We literally, like you said, they are scared of death, and we drive them to that fear because it's a real fear. It's like they should fear death because it's coming. Toilet Duck said, you worry too much? Not even close, dude. Not even close. Here's the thing. You have a choice. You can either give up, throw your hands in the air, and agree that you can't do anything, in which case I'm condemning my son to a future that I never signed him up for, or I can fight my ass off, and if nothing changes, I can at least die knowing that I did everything I possibly could. Right. And you know what? I can die a lot happier knowing I did everything I could. Yeah. I've never subscribed in my entire life to the argument of you can't do anything, you can't change anything. I've seen an individual change the entire course of the planet more times than I can count. Right? The same people that'll argue that I can't make a difference are the same people that bring up Elon Musk as like this ultimate success story. It's like this dude literally came from like Africa, bought citizenship here, took over a bunch of companies, became the richest man in the world, right? I mean, he's a fucking criminal on every goddamn level, but he did it, right? I mean, you can... The American dream is alive and well if you're willing to be a total piece of shit. But that's what we got to fix. I think at the end of the day, that's what we got to fix. Is if you're not going to throw out capitalism, at least constrain it to the point where people have to work for it, and you don't divert 99% of people's value to the people that don't do anything. And that's where we're at right now. Is we're in a society where it's like the people who make the most money, who take the most money, are the people that do the least. Like literally the least on average. I'm not saying everybody. Trust me, there's plenty of rich people that work really fucking hard. But there's also a lot of really rich people that are just devious fuckers that just take their money and use legislation to give them an advantage that other people don't have, to guarantee them a return on their investment without risking anything that scares them, while the people that can't afford to leverage that risk, just barely surviving, have no access to that same benefit.
Yep.
And that's a problem. That's a problem when society is skewed in that way, where you work for a company, you bust your ass for that company for like 15 years. Yeah, I'm looking at you, Microsoft. And they reward you. They say you're the best. They can't do it without you. You're part of the family. And then one day the bean counters are just like, hey, we can fake $18 billion in earnings if we just lay off half our workforce. And a computer just randomly picks people and throws them out.
Yep.
It's like, fuck that shit. What, I was just a number this whole time? You guys were lying to me? It's like, yeah, well, we didn't want you to take that 10% more offer from Google or that 20% more offer from Amazon. We didn't want to lose you.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, it's okay, now I'm just a number now, but hey, it's only business. It's only business. But who doesn't have to worry even if they get fired? The CEO, the board of directors, because when they get fired, they get a fucking $500 million severance package. When they get fired, they get to keep their vested shares. The regular employees don't. So there's a lot more risk in our system for the people that have to take the risk are the people that aren't in a position to weather it. And that's sad. That's like something that I think we'd really, and we're moving away from that rapidly. That's one of the reasons why I speak up about all this shit so much and I want people to investigate, is because you literally have a system now where one guy who is literally a felon for financial crimes, among other things, but very, very many financial crimes, like undisputed, including his charity fraud. He can't ever have another charity in New York because he literally created a charity and stole the money out of it, right? He literally solicits people for donations under false pretenses from 3 emails a day that he sends out to like every one of the megas saying, oh yeah, you're going to come to the house. You're going to come to Mar-a-Lago. Just give me $20 and you're going to come to dinner with me. I promise. And it never happens. People just donate money over and over again, get stuck in these fucking boot loops. Old people that don't know better getting charged every month and they don't know it. It's a fucking scam. Crypto scams in plain sight. It's like, This is bad. This is really, really bad, because when you have a president that can enrich himself with no risk to himself because he can just keep saying presidential immunity, we now have a king. And when you have a king on top of of the problem we have with 3% of the people at the top having all the wealth, he can control with that kind of power, he can control the oligarchs. It used to be the oligarchs could kind of control him. It's not any better, really, but at the same time, it's like the oligarchs used to be the one like calling the shots. Now you have Trump. He's the uber oligarch, where he gets to pick the oligarchs to get to stay oligarchs, and he gets to pick the ones that their fortunes get taken away from them, stripped, and they either get disappeared or run out of money to where now the sharks can feed, right? And they can go into the justice system and get just completely, destroyed. And he's all but told everybody, hey, break as many crimes you want, I'll pardon you. Look at Marjorie Taylor Greene, put $800,000 into stock when that's not her stock pattern, 2 hours before Trump announced that he was delaying the tariffs, which made the market recover by, was it like $4 trillion or something like that? So she literally took her $800,000 and turned it into like, who knows how much. She didn't declare, but it's probably like, 10 or 12 or 15 million or whatever, the way she did it. And everybody's like calling her out. They're like, listen, these are public filings. Like, we know you did it. Like, we're seeing it there, and Trump's like, Congress won't talk about it. They won't bring it to the floor. They won't talk about the other members that did it. It's clear that she was with Trump. Like it actually places her, photos place her with Trump 2 hours beforehand. So she was literally doing her investments with him present, with information that she was getting from him along with other people. Yet we can't do anything about it. SEC can't touch him. Justice Department can't touch him. DOJ can't touch him. Department of Homeland Security. None of them. He's untouchable. So he can just do this as much as he wants. It's fucking crazy. Tip said, I love you, but I promise things aren't as bad as the media has made it out to be. Well, Tip, I've done my research. I've actually done my research. So just so you know, it's not about the media at all. It's actually, yeah, exactly. It's worse. It's far worse. The media can't report on what's truly happening because they are constrained, because they're owned by people that are now beholden to Trump. Why do you think CNN has had to pull back so much? Like literally, they're like in the process of like, what is it? Is CNN or ABC or something that's trying to do a merger? And Trump has to personally approve the merger. So they've actually fired their 60 Minutes guy had to step down because they were trying to control him after all these years.
I think it's Paramount.
Yeah.
Something like that.
So when somebody who hasn't done the research tries to tell me it's not as bad as it is, that drives me nuts, because that tells me like, go do your research.
I kind of understand where they're coming from.
Explain
in a long-term sense. In a long-term sense, like long term. Like I do.
What do you consider long term? Because remember, Hitler went from just being the popular party giving himself power to World War II in 6 years.
I say 20.
Why would it be longer than 6 years though? If Hitler could do it in 6 years, don't you think we could do it faster?
No. I mean the before like we're approaching the low point. Like we're still on a downward trend. And that I totally agree. I think things are bad. Things are going to get bad. We haven't seen the worst of it.
Yeah, I don't think we're at the low point. I think it's going to get a lot lower, a lot faster now. He's testing his powers.
Yeah, I think and unless something is done fairly soon, which I don't know exactly what that's going to look like or mean, but I think it'll be probably 15, 20 years before it's okay again. I think we'll have these sort of like these dips and ups, but
what do you think will rebound it though? Like how do you fix all the distrust that's been caused?
Civil unrest.
Okay,
a breakup of the country. I hate to be doom and gloom. I really do.
So you're not saying it's gonna get less worse. You're gonna say it's gonna fucking dive into the ground, hit rock fucking bottom, and then rebound after that.
Again, I don't know exactly what that's gonna look like. I really don't think it's gonna be like.
Well, the only thing that would remove Trump would be civil war.
I don't necessarily agree with that.
Every time people have marched on Washington, he goes into his bunker. He's untouchable in his bunker. So
yeah, I don't know. I try to hold on to some optimism there. And okay, then if that's the case, then what good is the Civil War going to do? Right?
Hitler didn't care when people revolted against him. You know what he did? He made examples of them.
Yeah,
he put them in concentration camps and told everybody else, "Hey, see that guy? That guy was your neighbor. He wasn't a Jew, but now he's in a concentration camp. You want to go there too? Fucking buck up and fly right." And it worked. It scared him.
I don't know. Again, it comes back around to the United States just being too big. There's no real way for it to work. Like even the United States military could not occupy the United States. Like it's like it can't work that way.
No. Like our land mass would just give
the thing is like, okay, so like work that out logically then, right? Like say it wouldn't even be like there would be some physical violence and stuff like that and whatnot, but like I think it would just break apart. Like they don't need to storm the Capitol. They don't Washington, Oregon, California, Nevada can all just say, you know what? We're not going to pay taxes anymore.
And that's what I'm thinking. That's what I came up with too when I was thinking about like how do we rebel against this without going to civil war? But then you know what I came to the conclusion of?
That's what it would end up being.
What happened when Texas threatened to leave, right? Look what Biden did when Texas threatened to leave and secede from the nation. Our obligation is to use military force to take it back if we have to. You think Trump wouldn't do that?
Then you're going to have a battle between National Guards and what few of the U.S., the actual federal military.
You know what happens during civil wars, though, is infighting in the military. The military is going to have huge fights internally to themselves, and they're not going to be effective.
Yeah.
Like we're basically, our military is just going to implode, and then we're going to be left defenseless.
Yeah.
And that sucks.
That's going to be terrible. But again, like what you think? What, China's going to invade a disrupted U.S.? No, they'll just let the fucking thing and fall apart economically, and everybody will just turn their back.
No, China doesn't need actually waging war across the ocean is incredibly difficult to do.
And it just doesn't make any sense anymore.
Mexico has a better chance of like causing more problems than China could from a military perspective. Like Cold War is the way of the future.
They take Texas back. They can have like a chunk of California or something. Like, who cares?
Yeah, you're right, though. Like this, the conclusion I came to is the same. If Washington and California, just those two states, decided to just stop paying federal taxes, it would massively affect the government. Like the government's spending capabilities would be dropped to shit. And you know what they do? Knowing Trump, because Trump doesn't understand how any economy works at all. He's just going to fire up the money printers and just devalue the dollar down so far that everybody's forced to sell off all of our bonds and our currency goes in the toilet and it's worth like yen. like it's worth nothing.
Which, although I think that's a little unfair, I just think that I think Japan could consolidate their currency a little bit, or like it's not like things don't cost 100,000 yen because the yen isn't strong. I think it's just that they don't have the like the delineations that we do. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
No, it does. It does.
Okay. it's not that it's things don't cost 100,000 yen because the yen is I don't know how else to describe it.
No, and the thing is, like, they value their
of what a yen is. It'd be like saying, "Oh, I bought my car."
No, I agree. I agree.
Like, it's not because the dollar isn't strong. It's just because I'm using a smaller, like.
Well, let's put it this way: the yen is weak in its transition to American dollars, but the distribution of the money is on par. So, like what you're saying, you get 100 million instead of a dollar, you get 100 million yen or whatever. It's the equivalent of a dollar. So because everybody's getting paid that, nobody's getting paid 1 yen. 1 yen isn't worth anything. It doesn't do anything.
Yeah.
So instead of them,
it'd be like saying I paid for it in pennies.
Exactly. Right? Exactly. It's almost like the way they dealt with inflation is instead of increasing the buying power of the dollar, instead of increasing the buying power of the dollar to match inflation, they just left their currency the same and just increased how much people got paid. You just need more of them. Yeah, exactly.
I guess that's a weird.
It's the same end though, right? It's the same end.
Something about that doesn't feel quite right. Like I feel like we're missing a little piece of this, but
I'm sure we are.
Yeah.
But if you have like 100 million yen, right, and you convert that to US dollars, you roughly have a similar buying power. I mean, it's going to adjust for like whatever the conversion rate is to your country, but if the minimum wage there is 15,000 yen an hour or whatever, and that equates out to $15 US, it's rough equivalency, right? So like the cost of living, you just have a lot more numbers in your account, right? You can delineate your money more than a fraction of a penny. That's amazing, but it seems like that's the way they dealt with it instead of us, where our currency we almost treated it like a stock where you split it. Like where, when instead of allowing the currency to hyperinflate, where now people have to make $10,000 an hour, and milk costs like, $5,000 or whatever. We just changed the currency to be rough equivalent.
Yeah. You just kind of adjust the exchange rate.
Yeah. I'm not sure how that works, but it'd have to be the exchange rate, right? Because if you're exchanging with other countries, you need the value to be roughly equal.
I guess it's more how the value is viewed in it, I guess, like, because we're starting getting into the weird fuzziness of money and economics and
this is definitely a territory I don't know a lot of for sure.
Yeah, because it's more of a function of buying power.
100%. Yep.
I guess. And then you just kind of redefine what a dollar or a yen means, like, I guess, you know what I mean? Because like it wouldn't, nothing would stop Japan from saying, okay, this car that yesterday we said is worth 100,000 yen. There's nothing stopping them from saying, well, now it's worth 10,000 yen, and you just adjust everything so that the number is just.
And I bet you all the prices just have a bunch of zeros at the end. I bet you nobody's like, I'm going to sell this for 15,247 yen. It's 15,000 yen. It's just more zeros. Yeah.
Worth, 1 yen is now worth a Snickers bar.
Yep.
Like,
and I bet you the taxes probably works on a similar. The taxes would have to work similar too, right? Yeah. So you don't end up with fractions of a yen because, I shouldn't say fractions, but like decimal points of a yen.
Right.
That's not going to happen because a single yen is basically worthless. So what would be a yen denomination that would still be like 5 cents? Like I wonder what the 5 cent conversion rate is, because that's probably I
don't know if they have the denominations like we do when it comes to dollars and coins and things like that.
I know they have coins and paper, but I think their coins can be worth as much as the paper in some cases. Because I've seen people buy, go in a grocery store and buy shit with coins.
Is there a yen equivalent to a penny?
Because I know they have a lot of vending machines that still use coins too. So I know coins are still a big part of their culture. 144 yen is $1. Oh, so even 144, that's still like down to the yen. So actually, wait a second. So it's like pennies almost, right?
Just about.
Because 100 cents to a dollar and it's 144 to a dollar. So that'd be like an exchange rate just being like 25% off. That's okay. No, that actually makes sense. I didn't realize that. For some reason, I thought that like a dollar was like 1,000 yen, not 100. 100 makes sense because a yen is roughly a penny then.
Sure.
And a penny is still like you can still have with taxes and everything down to a penny. So going down to a yen, like by 144, 145, 146, that's still completely realistic if you're treating it like pennies.
Mm-hmm.
So 100 yen is like $1, 1,000 yen is like $10. Okay, so I mean that actually makes the conversion rate roughly easy to do in the head.
Hey.
Oh, hey, Gimpy. Thank you for the $9, dude. Woo! He said, hey, guys, I'm going full tilt raising money after seeing the racist lady getting $500K for calling the 5-year-old an N-word. Is there a safe way to put my Venmo on social media?
I wouldn't do Venmo.
Yeah, I wouldn't do Venmo. Like if you're going to do something, do I hate to say it, but like PayPal or something like that, because I think you got to worry about with PayPal, though, is people come back and withdraw the payments, and that can be a problem.
Yeah.
So, wait, what's going? Oh, is Tip still going on? Keeping everybody in a state of illusion while we get screwed in every direction.
Yeah.
What argument is he making? Trump and Elon are outside of the right and left peridium? No, they're not. I mean, they're in the ultra right hand. I mean, they're in the right wing extremist peridium.
I kind of get where he's coming from in that too, though. Like Trump isn't really. He's not really in right or left. He's taking advantage of the structure of policies.
That's a fair point, but without him like peacocking the conservative values and the right-wing values, whether he believes them or not, without that, he doesn't have the people giving him that power. So by default, whether they believe it or not, it's like they're not Christian either, but they say, but Trump says he's Christian, right? So it's like if the end result is they use that to gain power, then I still consider that like part of the illusion. Do I think Trump? No, Trump was a Democrat most of his life because it benefited him being a Democrat. He only switched to Republican. He even joked about it during an interview. He's like, the only reason I switched to the Republican Party is because they wouldn't let me run on their ticket as a Democrat. Yeah. That's it. Like, he was going to stay Democrat. He had no reason. And then when he converted to the GOP, he figured out that if he just went the extreme route, he could climb to the top and push everybody out, and it worked perfectly. And then he could just rename the party, take it as his own, put his own people in charge of it, and then just make everybody focused on him instead of the party. But I will agree this. Trump doesn't give a shit about like conservative values at all. He gives the illusion, and he convinces the conservatives that what he is doing is like their holy will. But no, he's just as dangerous to them as he is to us. Unless you're in that top 3%. And keep in mind, even if you're in that top 3% bucket, you're in danger. Look what happened to Bezos. Do you see what happened to Bezos? Bezos paid like $1 million at Trump to be at the inauguration, to be in the Broligarchy, right? Mm-hmm. Along with everybody else. And all he did was say he was going to add the tariffs to the Amazon site. Like they were just testing the idea. We're going to add a thing to the site tariff. And immediately his speaker comes out the next morning and says that it's a political attack and Bezos is in alignment with China and working with China. He's a Chinese agent. And immediately after that, Bezos gets on the phone. Hey, Trump, I'm so sorry. We're not doing it. We're not doing it. We're pulling back. Nope, we're not going to put the tariff thing on there. You're good. And then Trump, of course, goes, oh, yeah, no, I talked to him. He's a good guy. Yeah, no, it turns out they were never going to do this in the first place. And yeah, no, it's all good. After he basically just had his press secretary call him a traitor of the country and claim that he's working for the Chinese. And it's like, holy shit, bro. This is like the dude that gave you $1 million and you stabbed him in the back for just wanting to put a number on his website explaining why prices went up so they didn't blame Amazon. It's like, what the fuck's wrong with you? But this is the problem, right? Is if you want to stay in the Broligarchy, you got to do what Trump says. Otherwise, you don't get the exemption, right? You don't get the cheese. The cheese goes to the person that scratches his back. The other person gets fucked, right? It's not who makes the better product or who does the better thing or provides the better service. It's who sucks the orange cock the most. I'm sorry, but that's what it is. Like you and Jeff proved that through and through. It took 24 hours for him to lose his balls. Like seriously, and same thing with the Zuckerberg. Zuckerberg's doing the same shit. Apple, 100%. Tim Cook folded like completely. Like Tim Cook's even talking about now working with fucking Stargate and the AI program and like reducing the privacy because Apple's always been about privacy. Apple's been that's the one thing they really had on Android was like their privacy was really locked down for the most part. And now that's going to slip because they're willing, like Apple is literally bowing to Trump and to their invasion of privacy to get data to train AI. That's bad. That's really, really bad. When you have a company that literally told like every DOJ and everything, no, we're not going to break into that phone. We don't care if it belonged to a fucking terrorist. Like we are not violating privacy for anybody for any reason unless you have a fucking warrant signed by the Supreme Court themselves. We're not doing shit. And now that's not the case anymore. You know? It's fucking scary, man. It's like we're headed into a dangerous world. And then the thing is, while all this is happening, let's not turn a blind eye to AI's advancement. Like, holy shit, AI is like everybody's taking the safeguards like completely off. Like everybody's in the race to AGI. Like people are not fucking paying attention. People are not paying attention, dude. The generative AI. Have you seen like the fucking what is it called? Ray Fields or whatever it is. Like the new like they did the splats. Which were like create 3D environments that look real. Now they created this. Now they created this whole new technology that can create like absolutely realistic images from prompts that you cannot tell that are AI at all. They look 100% authentic because they're completely ray traced. They're like compared against a neural network that looks for like all the things that we look for in Uncanny Valley. And it's wild. And it can even create like video flyovers and like rotations around like the product looking like a drone flying around it and stuff like from a completely prompt generated image. it's getting so good that it's like last year it was like Uncanny Valley, then it got a little bit better and it got even more uncanny somehow, and now we're in the place where you can create a video or an image that can completely fool somebody. And now you have YouTube just getting overrun by these videos that just have fake thumbnails on them that are AI generated of like people and, you know, women scantily dressed, like, oh, click on this, I'm trying on something. You click on it and it's like fucking video from a live, like a home shopping network live stream in Taiwan. And these videos have like 900,000 views and there's 1,000 of them uploaded a month to a channel. Just cranking out millions of dollars. And the downvotes aren't even shown, so you can't even tell when you click on it until it's too late. It's wild, bro.
Oh, man, I gotta go.
Oh, do you got to get out of here? All right. Yep. All right, buddy. Hey, can you hold on for a second while I go take a piss and then I'll come back and take over?
Sure.
All right, give me a second here.
Code 1990 from the transmitters of blah blah. Give me a couple money order. Book contains selection of, oh, sure. Tripping inhalers, very interesting, scary. Yep. Sure enough. I have to agree. And again, it comes back around to just Oxyfire. No, it's the AGI thing. We're not at a point where it's a long way off before we get to a point where it's where any of this is actually intelligent. Like they might fake it a little bit with like agents and stuff. What is Plex bait and switch? They're charging for remote access to your personal media files. Any new computer building news or job stuff? No. I mean, you generally farted back. No, I didn't. Actually, good to see you, bro. Have a good week. Thanks.
Thank you,
Jerry's
sir.
back. Thanks, everybody.
Yep. Get out of here. Enjoy your weekend. I appreciate you stopping by, brother.
Bye.
Bye.
Have fun. Bye. I'm auxiliary everywhere. Follow me and stuff. Find me places. Okay, bye.
Oh, he's like, I'm fucking out of here, dude. I'm done. And then there was one. Hey, Histario, thank you for the $5 super chat. I appreciate it. He said, imagine if all American allies pre-Trump made a BRICS type currency. A BRICS type. What is a BRICS type currency? I'm not familiar with that. I guess I can look it up. It'd be easier. All right, what is a BRICS type currency? All right, let's see. What do we got here? Give me the quick and dirty. All right, so Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa. Okay, so like literally have been exploring ways to reduce reliance on the U.S. dollar and global trade. One of the most ambitious proposals, BRICS Pay. Oh, digital currency platform designed to facilitate transactions among member nations. As long as it's not based on like crypto blockchain, I'm good with it. Oh, blockchain-based payment system. Yeah, that's not a good idea. Unless the governments themselves. The problem with that is any government can just throw massive power. It's strong-arming the blockchain. Well, we've already seen this happen with cryptocurrencies in China. It's completely possible. And with something like this, where not every country is adopting it, not every country is like incentivizing the people that are running the maintenance and the transaction stuff on the blockchain, probably not a good idea to completely invest in something like that. However, I do agree that shit needs to change because our currency system that we have right now is outdated. Hey, Putch, what's up, my man? Sent you, let's see here, a like for a proposed tech talk using AI and Suno. I sent it to you on Blue Sky. Oh, a tech talk intro using AI and Suno. Oh, I'll check it out. I'll check it out after the stream. Suno is getting crazy. The shit that Suno can create now, it's like if you show it to somebody that doesn't know that AI can create music, they don't get suspicious at all. They think it's a real person that made it. It's absolutely wild. Yeah, but anyways, I mean, to kind of wrap shit up about that. Wait, why am I against a blockchain payment system? I thought I made it clear. Because the blockchain payment system, if the government runs the transaction verification, a blockchain can be strong-armed and changed by the majority member. So it's happened with Bitcoin. That's why you have Bitcoin Classic. That's why you've had forks in the chain. It's like if you can overpower that crypto network, you can control it. Hell, you can even add false transactions to it. And as long as you're the majority and you verify those transactions and you can overpower everybody else with the compute. And remember, we're running into a world right now where AI is causing compute to go up astronomically fast. Like The amount of time and effort and money that we're throwing into compute right now to satisfy AI makes crypto look like a drop in the bucket. But if people want to take that AI network training offline long enough to rededicate that power towards strong arming a crypto blockchain, that could be a real problem. It's actually one of the reasons, one of the reasons why I don't really fuck with cryptocurrency much anymore is because I've just seen too many goddamn crypto scams. There's too many exchanges that allow you to launder money and move money out of one blockchain into a shit coin and then resell it and then transact it back to rejoin the ledger without leaving a very good paper trail. Shit like that becomes a problem. Ron Gao said Plex bait and switch. Oh, you missed it. We talked about it at length earlier, but TLDR, Plex decided that they're going to take away a primary feature of the free software that has been there forever, which is literally to stream content to a remote location over the internet. They're going to take that away and make it a pay feature now. And so everybody that used the product, everybody that reviewed the product and gave it a positive review, that's used it for years, spent all their time transacting their collections over and everything, now they're in a situation where they're basically being strong-armed to buy a monthly subscription or a very costly permanent subscription, which, by the way, they could later just invalidate and create a bigger subscription and put things under that pay model to make you rebuy them back again. I mean, once you bait and switch people, you can just keep doing it. I mean, that's exactly what... God, I can't even remember the name of the goddamn company that did it to me. I keep forgetting here. Let me go back and look at my feed here really quick. It is Filmic Pro. I paid for Filmic. I haven't used it again since they pulled this shit. So yeah, I don't like bait and switches. But the thing that I found is that most people that have a Plex Pass, like an unlimited Plex Pass that they bought years ago, I have one too, but most people that bought it seem to defend what Plex is doing because it doesn't affect them personally. And then the people that use the free version of it obviously are upset at the bait and switch. And I've noticed this is just a trend. It happens in politics too, where you have people that as long as they're in the bucket that's unaffected, they don't really care if it fucks over other people. They only care about it when it finally gets to their doorstep. You know, and they don't really think ahead and go, well, if it fucks those people over, it's eventually going to, fuck its way up or down the scale and hit me too on some level. But until it actually hurts them, they don't really care. They're like, oh, if this doesn't affect me. But then if they bait and switch and say, oh, we created a new level of subscription called, Plex Pro Plus, and now you got to get that one to get your streaming feature back because we decided to take that streaming feature out from the paywall and move it up to the next rung because we had too many people buying unlimited pass and we're not getting revenue anymore. That's a problem because when you allow companies to do that, they will just keep abusing it, and then other companies see that they're getting away with it, and then they just keep doing the same shit. Let's hear. Corey said, how close do you think we are to general intelligence? What in the world would that be like, do you think? Okay, so AGI is like a very pumped up term. I see different people describe AGI differently. But remember, it's never going to be intelligent. Artificial intelligence, in the way that we perceive intelligence, it's never going to be intelligent in that way. But it's going to be able to emulate intelligence. It's going to be able to convincingly emulate intelligence. And we can convincingly emulate intelligence to the point where you can't figure out from the text going back and forth between you and it whether it's human or it's an AI, which I'd say some cases we've reached that right now, depending on the person that's talking to it. I look at that is AGI. If you can't get the thing to jump into some kind of fucked up loop where you can identify that it's doing something that really highlights it as a high probability of being an AI, I consider that successful in that goal. However, and that's the thing, yeah, how do you define intelligence, right? A lot of people define intelligence as like the biological mechanism a human uses that we don't fully understand to attain intelligence. And we're like, well, a binary computer doesn't have the quantum nature of the human brain. But it's like, if we can get it to do things that emulate a human in a convincing enough way that a person can interact with it and think they're interacting with another human and actually create something as a result of communicating with that, thinking that they're working with another human, and the end result is something better than they could come up with on their own, I would argue that we're close. But I don't think we're gonna. Yeah, it's never gonna have what's like considered a soul, right? I don't think we're gonna like AGI isn't gonna be like the textbook unless we create an AI and we imbue it with training, or tell it to be evil. It's not gonna be evil, right? It's like it's only gonna be evil if we tell it to be evil. It's not gonna be like the movies in that sense. However, I sadly do think that people are going to tell it to be evil. And if you give it enough access to shit, which, newer AIs use an MCP protocol, can access the internet, can compile and run their own code that can affect their own course of action and feed data back into their system, either for training or within the prompt and context of the conversation. That's crazy. Now you have an AI that can be just left to its own devices connected to the internet, just compiling and training on more and more information towards some vague goal, and it'll eventually achieve it. Might take a lot of money, a lot of time, and a lot of processing power, but it'll get there eventually. Yeah, Tip, I still don't think the blockchain financial system is a good idea. But I mean, we disagree on a lot, Tip. And that's fine. I think disagreements are good. I think it's good that people see a whole array of different opinions, because the goal is to get people interested enough that they do the research, right? I don't want somebody just to believe me, because if somebody's just going to believe me outright and not do any research, then that's no better than the people that just believe Trump when he just spews absolute bullshit, right? I want people to go and investigate. I want people to go and educate themselves. My goal is to light a fire under people so that they're like, shit, that guy's wrong, or okay, he's got me a little worried about this. I'm going to go do some research. And I just give them that little bump that they need to go start going down that path so they can realize what's coming our way, instead of just like being completely blind to it and letting it impact them. Oh, Tip, I appreciate that. I really do. How is Grok for coding? Surprisingly good. Surprisingly good. I won't say it's like Claude 3.7 level Sonnet, but it's pretty damn close. And it's easier to jailbreak. Like Claude is way harder to jailbreak than Grok. So if you want to write computer viruses and web crawlers and fucking automation scripts and all that stuff that Grok tells you it won't do, it's relatively easy to trick it into doing it anyways, which is very interesting. Claude, I haven't had nearly as much success jailbreaking. Gibby said, want to know a horrible place to get hit with a bait and switch? Moonlight Bunny Ranch. Hey, wait, isn't Moonlight Bunny Ranch I'm thinking of the Mustang Ranch. Did they rename it? Is that the brothel in Vegas? Like, well, it's technically outside of Vegas. I don't think it's in Clark County, because Clark County, technically, prostitution's illegal. Toilet said, Jerry, does tech talk right? Hey, if you don't know by now, Toilet Duck, you never will, brother. Rab wants to know what webcam I'm using. This actually isn't a webcam. It's a Sony RX100 Mark 7 connected to a... come on, brain. Elgato's capture card. Elgato Game Capture HD. So I think I'm doing 1080-60 right now, if I'm not mistaken. How is general intelligence defined, though? Being able to create thoughts and ideas without training or something? That is generally, that's what I've seen AGI defined as. Again, I haven't seen a solid single definition that everybody agrees on, but if I had to have a consensus, it would be an AI that appears to think and come up with unique ideas that it wasn't explicitly trained on. So right now, if you ask AI a question, every response that it gives you is an amalgamation of other things it was trained on that was thought up by humans. Can that lead to it creating something unique? Yes, in a nature, but you can always if you know where the 2 pieces of code are that it trained on, the ultimate, or the 1,000 pieces of code that generated that, you can reverse engineer it and see how it came to that conclusion. The idea of AGI would be a computer sitting by itself, testing its environment without any external input from humans, like literally just learning how to, giving it a prompt on a computer and having it just figure it out and figure out how to start out from nothing, look at the patterns, fuck with things, touch buttons, and just see what happens, and ultimately be able to master that computer and use it to go and train itself. If it could do that, then I'd say we've pretty much achieved AGI. Do I think a current AI can do that yet? It's possible. I've seen some AIs with MCP, and especially agents, AIs that have agents where they designate different tasks to qualified AIs that are better at that specific thing, and then use MCP to tie those into applications, databases, prompts in the internet, so they can pull in external data and mix it with its like internal thought process that it's sharing between these agents, and then having a coordinator that comes up with the absolute result and then is able to run that result, look at the resulting images, the UI, the output from that thing, and then go through and try to fix it, refine until it gets something that it thinks is doing exactly what it wants to do. I'd say the AGI is pretty well there. I don't think we're quite there yet, though. I think that there's a lot of things that can still derail AI relatively easily, but the advancement is uncanny. Every year I've seen AI like not just double, but like 10x the previous year. This is on a massively logarithmic curve. Whoa, what the fuck? Toilet Duck's actually asking a real technical question? No way. All right, so could you answer me this? So TechFac, do you know or not know if you can remux a file containing EAC3 using TS Muxer command line? Couldn't tell you. I've never used TX Muxer myself. However, I have demuxed files using VLC as the demuxer, and I don't know if the audio tracks were AC3 or MP3, but I was able to extract the audio tracks separately from the MP4 file within an MKV container. So I was able to demux the MKV container. I think you can even do it with OBS. But OBS can only demux MKV files and actually extract the H.264 or H.265 and then separately the audio sometimes. But I've never used TX Muxer, so I couldn't tell you. I'd say ask AI. AI is amazing at creating command lines. Like, that's one thing I really like Grok, Claude, GPT-01 and 4.0, even Llama. Hell, even Google Gemini is pretty damn good at it, and Copilot too. So if your goal is to figure out if something can do something and then generate a command line to do it, AI is really freaking good at doing that. As a matter of fact, I've had AI write me some Python scripts that do incredibly complicated things that I didn't think it could possibly do. Hey, Don Kellogg, thank you for the $2. Said, Ox, have a great weekend. Oh, that's awesome of you, man. Looks like that. Oh, that was 13 minutes ago. Sorry, I missed that. Let's see here. Histario, thank you for telling me about the BRICS type currency. I've never heard of I've heard the word BRICS, but I didn't know what it meant. I just looked it up. But yeah, the blockchain thing scares me just from like all the crypto scams and exchanges and all the illegal shit that's done with it, and the ability to strong arm a crypto chain by just taking over the majority of the network's processing power. But if the BRICS system used an internal blockchain that was run on government servers, and there were mechanisms in place to prevent any one of the countries from overpowering the blockchain power in their respective corner, forcing the other nations to increase their power also disproportionate. Like, there's just too much, I think, that could go wrong with that with a blockchain. However, it would solve the exchange issue, right? Having like a universal currency across the world that's digital, so you don't have to deal with exchange rates. You don't have to deal with separate inflation. Like, well, I mean, inflation's still going to happen separately, but at least it's going to affect the amount of currency, not the denomination. So there are upsides to it, but any blockchain scares me. So I thought that the definition of intelligence equals Jerry. Am I duck wrong? Well, it depends. Do you think high IQ is intelligence, or do you think experience is intelligence, or do you think the combination of the two is intelligence? TS Mux plus PowerShell. Oh, actually, Copilot's really good for writing PowerShell scripts. So is Grok. Grok does a pretty good job writing PowerShell scripts. It does fuck up some escape sequences sometimes. Like sometimes it has a tendency to use emojis that when they're copied and pasted, they don't go to the Unicode character equivalent. So unless you're in an IDE that does that transaction, it writes code that'll break upon compilation at runtime. But for the most part, I've had good luck. Python seems to be the strength, though. Out of all the AIs I've used for coding, Python seems to be the thing that most of these AIs have trained on the most. I don't know if that's because there's more Python code than anything else on like GitHub repositories and stuff like that. But it just seems like whenever I'm writing code, I've had to try to write it in PowerShell. I've had to try to write it in Python. I've even had to try to write it in like C#. And it'll do it. It'll write the code. But I find that it has the lowest error rate personally with the stuff I've been writing just using Python. How good is Warp at it? Been considering using it? Warp is amazing. I just wish it allowed for more queries. I end up capping it out and using up my entire daily allowance like within like 10 minutes. So if you're, and then when you pay for it, you still only get like 200 queries a day or something. Like, it's not a lot. Like, maybe for the average person, that's a lot. But if you're going back and forth and like trying to create a script and trying to refine it and stuff, it can eat up those queries really quick. So I haven't been using Warp a whole lot since I keep running up against that limitation. But I do love the idea of Warp. If you guys don't know what Warp is, it's warp.dev. And it's basically a shell for Windows. I think it also works with other platforms too. But it's a shell for Windows with integrated AI. So think of like a power, it can do PowerShell, it can do command prompt, everything, but just imagine where you're just typing human commands asking the computer to do something, and it's figuring out how to write the commands, write the code, sequence them, execute them, and report back to you the relevant information so that you can just talk to your computer like it's fucking LCARS on Star Trek. And it gets it right most of the time. However, I had times where it did write code that was slightly off from what I was asking it to do that could potentially be destructive, but it does ask you before it runs it by you and shows you the commands before it actually executes them. It doesn't just do blind execution unless you tell it to. So you can catch stuff like that. But if you're somebody who doesn't really understand like how to even read like the basic command prompt and you're just asking it to do something, it's like, hey, I'm going to do all this crazy stuff you don't understand. Do you want me to do it? I'd maybe shy away from that because you could potentially do damage. But as long as you have like a basic understanding, you look at a command prompt and like get the gist of it, like, you know, a high level code review, you should be fine with it. And it's really useful. Let's see here. You're actually using, okay, so Jonathan said, Jonathan said, I'm actually using an AI generated script to build my Firefox fork right now. Love using AI. Like I could do this by hand, but I don't have to. Woo. Yeah, AI is amazing for coding. Even if you just use it for the bulk of the code, a lot of coding is just syntax, right? Creating the skeleton, creating the variables, creating the loops, creating the switch statements. The bulk of the code, you can just get the AI to write that if you want to, and then go in and just fix and tweak and add the things that you want here and there. And if you're using an AI-enabled IDE, like what is it? Which one am I thinking of? It's like not Copilot. Come on, brain. This is what happens when you don't get any sleep. What's the Cursor? Cursor.ai. Amazing IDE, but again, you have to use cloud-based AI, so it can get expensive if you pay for it. However, they do give you quite a bit of queries. Like a lot of people get away with just the stock amount of queries it gives you. You can also use there's another one called Klein something. That's like the open source version of Cursor, like similar, and you can even use your own AI with it if you want your own local AI. And then there's another one called something Shark. I'm sorry, I'm just drawing a blank on names right now. But there's like 3 or 4 IDEs that are a combination of closed source and open source that use embedded AI in the IDE for coding. So instead of like what I do most of the time is I go talk to the prompt through the various interface, Poe or the website itself. I ask it to write the code, then I copy and paste it into my IDE, modify it as needed, right? Well, with having AI directly integrated into the IDE using something like Copilot or using Cursor or many of the others, you can actually go function by function and actually like go type in like change this function to do this or add this function to do this or add this functionality, and it will just go and put the code in the places where it needs or change the code in the context of what you have selected instead of rewriting the whole thing over and over and over again, which gets computationally expensive. So it's actually far more efficient to use something like Copilot or Cursor or something like that as your code editor, because then you're working a lot faster. You're not having to wait for these astronomically huge responses. It's much better. It's much better overall. But I'm going to be honest with you guys, even though I have Cursor installed and a bunch of these other things, I haven't used them deeply. Like I'm still finding that like most of my Python coding I'm doing is in Notepad just out of pure laziness. But honestly, anything would be better, right? Like even something with syntax highlighting is incredibly useful for just finding little errors and stuff like that. Hell, even Notepad++ would be great for like Python stuff. Mikey Michael said, can I ask what you do to avoid being hacked? Don't expose anything to the internet and use a honeypot. Those are the things I do. I don't have anything on my network that's exposed externally that I can connect to. And if I do need to connect to something from an external network, I shunt it through something like Tails. Is it Tailscale? I think it's Tails. What do I call it? Tailscale? Come on, brain. I think it's Tailscale. The fuck's it called? Yeah, Tailscale. So Tailscale is just basically like a virtual private network that you can set up between you and your devices that's encrypted. So when you're connecting to stuff outside of the network, it requires an encrypted handshake that you can control, and that way you don't expose anything to the outside world. Like that, the odds of somebody hacking that endpoint with all the encryption on it, unless there was a huge oversight and bug, and Tailscale is minimal. And again, if you expose something to the network in Tailscale, you can like very severely limit it. Like you can change the routing protocol and whichever OS you're connecting to Tailscale to limit its access to just whatever you want it to have access. Tailscale is amazing. Like even the free version of Tailscale is absolutely phenomenal. If you haven't used Tailscale, it's amazing. And you know what it's really good for is like, and it doesn't get a lot of advertisement for this. It really doesn't get a lot of advertisement for this, but it is amazing for moving images and media between your devices. So if you install Tailscale on your iPad, on your iPhone, on your computers, on your laptop, it just creates a virtual private network over the internet between all of them. And it'll even negotiate like the routing on if they're all on the local area network, it'll even reroute on the local network so it doesn't have to go out through the internet, right? Even when it's local. And it figures out how to do all of the handshaking and everything. So all you have to do is connect the devices and they're all on their own local network, regardless of what network they're on externally. So you can literally go down to Starbucks, access everything on your local network through your Tailscale, just as if you were sitting in your house. And what I love it for is transferring media. So like on iOS, I can just click on any image, any video, any file, and just go to send to, and then it'll like pop up the list of apps. I select Tailscale. Tailscale opens up and it's like, it shows me all the devices that are on my Tailscale account that are online. I just select the device I want and say send the file there, and it goes to wherever it's configured for that device to save the file. So like on my computer, it's like the downloads folder. And so if I need an image off my phone, I just open up Tailscale. I can take the picture right in the camera app, go down, click, what do I want to do? Send to, and instead of contact, I click Tailscale, I click my computer name, and boom, just over the encrypted network, and it's just sitting in my download folder. I love it. It's fantastic. It's like super simple, very reliable, works all the time. I love that the routing on the phone, if you're connected to Tailscale, you don't have to route the phone through it. You can still have the phone like use the direct network connection. You can have another VPN running like NordVPN, and then you still have Tailscale connected to send stuff to the other devices, and it'll just establish the tunnel through the VPN. It's pretty damn cool. And, far more sophisticated than NordVPN MeshNet. As a matter of fact, I don't use NordVPN MeshNet. I love NordVPN's VPN service. I don't use any of their other stuff. I can't tell you whether it's good or bad or otherwise, but like I don't really trust using NordVPN as my mesh network. I would much rather use something like Tailscale. Nord is great for the VPNs, and because they're based in a country that has no extradition with anybody, they're like fantastic as a VPN. But as far as like trusting them with like mesh networking and them potentially having access to all your files and stuff, no, I'd rather use something like Tailscale that's like heavily moderated by the community. Oh, someone stole your email address and they're sending emails pretending to be me. Yeah, that sadly happens. Are you a content creator by chance? Because yeah, anytime you're a content creator and you get any kind of fame or any kind of penetration, people immediately create email addresses that look like yours and start reaching out to companies claiming that yours, asking for products, trying to get deals, trying to open accounts and shit and get free stuff using your name. It's inevitable. It happens to every YouTuber. Every YouTuber and live streamer I've ever known, at some point they hit it where they get just big enough that someone's like, you know what? I'm going to impersonate that person. If nothing else, just to get some fake fame and make people believe that they're that person just to get attention. It does happen. It's pretty common. As far as how to deal with it, you know, sadly, what I ended up having to do was just go to the police and let them handle it. Sadly, not every police department is funded for like cybercrime, because impersonation is a big deal. Like impersonation on the internet is still technically illegal at the federal level. You can't impersonate other people. Let's see here. Gimpy said, hey guys, I'm going full tilt raising money after seeing the racist lady. Oh yeah, the 500K. Dude, did you see the other lady that faked being mega to get $150,000 to pay off all of her college bills? Did you see that? It's brilliant. This liberal black lady, she's a genius, by the way. She got a red mega hat. She put it on and took pictures and then posted her PayPal to social media and said that her family abandoned her and stopped giving her financial support because she came out in mega and recognized that Trump's the best president in the United States and blah, blah, and he's saving Christianity. Anyway, she made this big post and she claims it was a joke, but I don't think it was, because she created the PayPal and she kept the money. But she created this, and it went hyper viral. People picked it up. A bunch of the right-wing media guys picked it up and perpetuated it. She ended up getting $150,000. She cashed it out and paid all of her school bills. And a couple of people retracted, after she took the money out, they retracted. So she had to go back and put money in to pay him back. But not many of them subtracted it. And then once the liberals figured out what she did, they started pumping money in that pushed her back up to 150 and over. And so this lady ended up getting $150,000, mostly from liberals. Like over 100K of it was kept from conservatives that really thought that she was like this black lady that was coming out for Trump and supporting him. And, and it was just, it just shows how gullible and why Trump sends 3 emails a day lying to these people to try to get them to send him money, right? Well, he tells the public he's rich and he doesn't need money and everything. He's literally like selling Bibles, running crypto scams, using his wife and kids for crypto scams. The dude is like obviously broke, and he loves committing crime. So it was just funny to see that process that Trump used just replicated by another rando person who also had a history of being liberal online. They just literally deleted their tweets, but no conservatives knew how to use Wayback Machine or anything like that. So they literally just piled money on her. So all you have to do is pretend to be MAGA and like publicly talk down to liberals and say how Trump is like the king and he's the best and, you know, he's going to take America back and we need him to be the king and, you know, elect Trump forever. And if you say that shit and do that shit while wearing a MAGA hat in videos and you look somewhat convincing and serious, fucking MAGA will line your pockets, man. There are so many cultists that they see that and they don't even think for a second, could this be fake? They don't. They just throw money at you. Right? It's like the same tactic that, you know, prosperity faith pastors use. And it just works beautifully with Trump supporters because the whole reason he indoctrinated them in the first place was because of their prescription into old school, Old Testament Christianity, right? It left them vulnerable to hate and control. And so it turns out anybody can do it. You don't even have to be Trump. You could just anybody that's willing to step up and just lie through their teeth and deceive people can get money. I wouldn't do it personally because I've got ethics that prevent me from doing things like that. But I'm just saying, if you have no ethics and you want to just make a shitload of money, just pretend to be a Trump supporter. Go get on Truth Social, start commenting on all Trump's posts, talking about how you love him, and create videos and get your content really out there, talking about how you're changed everything, you believe everything they're right, and you hate and think all the people of different colors should be exported to other countries, and that you love that Trump is like doing what the Nazis did and everything. You think it's amazing, and Project 2025 is greatest. If you do that, you will get money. If you share a PayPal with that, you will have money come into it, like literally within probably fucking minutes. BB Junkie said, any thoughts on Melania? I reckon she's got some body doubles. Seen some appearances lately where they don't look like her at all. Oh, she definitely has body doubles. She even did during the first presidency. There was events that she refused to go to Trump with because she was mad at him, so he just got the body double to come with him. She knows that she can't really cross him or out him because she negotiated a prenup that said that she wouldn't. Like, she renegotiated her stance to get a lot more money. She wants to divorce him. She wants out. Like, she really, really wants out, but he needs her to be the first lady to legitimize his kingship, if you will. So she's basically just going along with it because she's got a really good deal in her prenup that when she divorces, she's going to get a lot of money. But first, Trump's got to get the lot of money to pay her in the first place. So that's what he's working on right now. Yeah, she doesn't. There's no love. That is a loveless relationship. They have never kissed each other on the lips and they used to back in the day when they first got together. Oh yeah, they were all over each other. But now you fast forward to today, no, everything they do, she slaps his hand away, barely holds his hand. The only time there's any even remote closeness is when there's a body double in play. She's literally refused to show up to like the most important campaigns that he had. She only shows up when she absolutely has to. I'm sure his son doesn't like him either because his son literally just fucking scams. His dad uses him to run scams. I think they still fuck. No, definitely not. Trump, I guarantee you Trump and her have had no coitus in a very, very long time. And even if Trump can still get it up, I'm sure it's with prostitutes that are heavily vetted, that are specifically for presidents and cleared for the president, that are probably Secret Service agents themselves. I mean, presidents have access to shit that mere mortals do not. So I'm sure that he's getting everything he wants and more. But they have to do it in a way that protects his image from the public because can't. But then again, he doesn't really have to protect his. I mean, the Christians already hold him to high standard, even though he's on video literally saying grab him by the pussy and talking about his daughter's boobs on Howard Stern. So when she was 16 years old, by the way. So yeah, they've already accepted that he's just a creepy dude. But again, I mean, look what prosperity faith pastors do, right? So, fascist Barbie has if she hasn't done shit with him, she's definitely tried. But I don't think Trump would even touch that with a 10-foot pole. Honestly, Trump's pretty particular. Trump's gonna be the new pope. I wish he was the new pope. He'd have a hell of a lot less power. I am a little worried about who the next pope is going to be, though, because remember, if a pope gets elected that Trump can control, that's going to be a big problem because that's going to give Trump a lot more pull than he already has over the Catholics. And remember, Trump is just like Hitler. Trump is completely an atheist. Has been his entire life. He's completely dodged church. He didn't even get married in church except for with Melania because her family insisted. But otherwise, he's always been married outside of a church. He has absolute disdain for the church. He just knows that is a very important piece to controlling a mob. You have to, if you want to get a big enough group to overthrow democracy, you have to do the same exact thing Hitler find the largest single religion in the country, regardless of what it is, doesn't matter. He's atheist. He doesn't give a shit. If it was Islam, he'd be fucking pandering Islam. You find the biggest group that you possibly can, and then you use their Bible against them and manipulate their faith to control them. And that's exactly what we do. So if the new Pope sides with him and he can buy the new Pope, he will gain access to a lot more Catholics. Kyle said, I've heard his old wife was buried in like farm for tax purposes. Then he converted the golf course also for tax, maybe. Actually, he buried her on the back of his golf course. Like he already had, the golf course was already established. He just buried her on the back 9 and then didn't maintain the grave. So it's completely grown over and you can't even read the headstone anymore. And keep in mind, he has people that maintain the entire golf course. So he specifically told them not to maintain that patch because he does not like her. Like if he buried her there, it's either because the kids forced him to, but he still has absolute disdain for her. Because remember, she's the one that outed him for having Mein Kampf, right? And that could have fucked him up early on. But we didn't realize that Christians didn't care that he was a huge fan of Hitler. That was actually a plus for him. We didn't really see that coming. Just a small correction that Trump actually had Hitler's New World Order, not Mein Kampf. Delegion, I don't know where you're getting that information from, but Ivana, his wife, at the time they were married, specifically said that he had Mein Kampf. Plus, his dad had Mein Kampf. His dad was a KKK leader in New York. So Trump has a copy of Mein Kampf one way or the other. But I have no idea. But I guarantee you he also had My New Order because that's the one with the speeches, right? So he also had Hitler's speech book. So whereas Mein Kampf was the manifesto of how to destroy a democracy and install an authoritarian government, which is what Project 2025 is highly based on, isn't New Order his collection of speeches? So, yeah, no, it wasn't even an article. It was an actual interview, like a live interview with Ivanka. And she said that he has Mein Kampf in his nightstand because it's the only book he had. Like at the time, that was the only book he was reading. Let me double check here. Hold on. Stand by. Oh, no, you're right. You're right. I stand corrected. Hey, if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. I want the truth. So, yeah, he had his, so it was My New Order, which is the collection of speeches. You're correct. He did have the collection of speeches. Okay, yeah, I've got dual confirmation. 1990 Vanity Fair profile. Ivana mentioned that Donald Trump keeps a copy of My New Order in a cabinet next to his bed. So let's see here. Yeah, and then Fred Trump was associated with the KKK. That's why he was good friends with David Duke, and so was Trump. After his dad passed, Trump maintained the relationship with David Duke until it became highly publicized and he had to distance himself publicly. But apparently he's still friends with him. But yeah, all going all the way back to his grandfather, who actually was also... Did you know they're all military Dodgers, by the way? They're all draft Dodgers. So his grandfather, who's the first person that came to America, who immigrated here, right? He's only the third immigrant, like the third generation of immigrant. His dad came here to avoid his enlistment. He was drafted into World War I in Germany, so he left, came to the United States, ran a brothel here, and then Fred Trump used his position and his money and his influence to dodge his military service, and then Trump used his dad's fortune and influence to dodge his military service. So they are a family of draft dodgers. Not surprising at all, though. Not surprising at all. Also, it's not surprising that his grandpa ran a brothel and that his dad was involved with the KKK. I mean, just look at how they treated renters, right? It's still a horrible book, which helped shape how he talks to his cult. Oh, for sure. And the Legion, it's like, so Mein Kampf is, the reason I know Trump has read Mein Kampf is because a lot of the things that he employs in Project 2025 with the Heritage Foundation are like direct translations. Like direct, like there's no room for it, they modify it for technology and like times. However, is it possible that Trump never read Mein Kampf? Because he wasn't a big reader at all, right? I mean, like I said, his wife said the only book he really kept around was Hitler's speeches that he found very interesting, and he thought he was a great speaker and orator, and he really respected him for that. But the Mein Kampf influence is uncanny. Now, is it possible he didn't read Mein Kampf and the Heritage Foundation did, and they're the ones that are creating this, and he's just going along with it? That's entirely possible. However, his dad definitely was a big fan of the Nazis. Not publicly. He lied publicly and said that they weren't from Germany. They were, I think he said that they were of Swiss descent. And then they found out that they changed their name from Drumpf to Trump. To avoid the association with their past in Germany. But no, his dad definitely would have been on the Nazi side for sure. He would have been a member of the DAP that sided with Hitler. But it's absolutely crazy though that we're in this situation. Like seriously, it's still surreal. I still don't even know like what to think. It's like I'm just in awe that things are this broken. Like I watched the Congress when Congress gathers together and it's like they do nothing. Congress does nothing. The conservative majority blocks anything they want to talk about, anything they want to debate, anything coming to the floor having to do with Trump or his abuse of power or the Constitution or reserving the Congress's power. Like it's all just shut down. They won't let anybody talk about anything to the American people. All the inspector generals are gone, so we can't even tell what our government's doing. The eyes and ears have been cut off. So it's like the swamp is real now. It's like literally everything that Trump said he wasn't going to do, he did 10x. Everything he said Biden did, he's done 10x. When Biden didn't do it, he's like, it was just deflection. Everything he said he wasn't going to, everything he said he was going to do didn't happen. Everything he said that the other side was doing, he's doing. It's like literally projection. If you hear him even for a second start talking about, oh, Biden wanted to, put all the Jews in camps again. You're like, oh shit, you should start worrying. You should really start worrying because that is projection, my friends. Fucking wild, man. Wild. Oh shit, Thomas Lynn, thank you for the $7.11 in sexes, SEKs. He said, it was a while since I gave you guys some sexes. Well, we always appreciate the sexes, my friend. Let's see here. I think I got everybody else. If I missed you, I really apologize. I'm a little off my game today. I had a weird sleep. I only slept for about an hour before the show, and it was like normally when I sleep for an hour, it's like I toss and turn and I maybe have like a little dream. No such thing. I literally set my alarm, my head hit the pillow. It was like I closed my eyes and the alarm went off immediately. I got up. I thought I set my alarm wrong because I just set my alarm before I put it down. So I thought I set it an hour early. It's like, no, I literally hit the pillow, snored my ass off for exactly an hour, and like time, there was no perception of time. Zero. It was like I was under general anesthesia. It was weird. Is it Toilet Duck? Is it wrong to wear a KKK suit on Halloween? I think you know the answer to that, Toilet Duck. Dial her back about 10%. I'm just helping you adjust for your trolliness. Oh my God. And yet he's still terrible at giving speeches. I mean, Kyle, if you think about it, okay, from the perspective of an educated person, he's terrible at giving speeches. From the perspective of honesty, he's terrible at giving speeches. From a perspective of decency, he's terrible at giving speeches. However, are his speeches effective? Yes. Hitler suffered from the same shit, although I will say that Hitler arguably was far more intelligent than Trump was. But still, he's literally just cheating off Trump's paper or off Hitler's paperwork. So if Hitler got those results, Trump's getting the same results because we're just not. Our nation, sadly, is heavily educated on World War II Hitler. We're not educated on the Hitler who usurped power and turned a democracy into an authoritarian dictatorship 6 years before World War II. if more people were educated on that story, like I am now, I'll even admit I wasn't educated on this story before all this shit went down. When you go back and figure out how Trump gained the power and what he did with that power and the things that happened from 1933 through to World War II 6 years later, fucking wild. It like, if people knew that story, they'd be able to immediately identify what Trump is doing and stop it. But now we're past that point. Sadly, it slipped by all of us, and we're all paying the price for it now. Y'all think Kanye is qualified to run for government now? I mean, I can see Trump giving him a position. If Kanye asked for a position, I'm sure Trump would give it to him just to piss people off. Corey said, I very much want the TLDR on the Quarks EV, lol, not trying to spam. Oh, no. Actually, that was Ox's topic, but sadly we went off ramp like we usually do. But yeah, no, if you guys are interested in like EV technology, this is a pretty wild one. So the company Koenigsegg, you guys may or may not know of them. They have created cars, many cars that are low volume production, incredibly expensive vehicles. You know, some of them start at like $4 or $5 million. I think they even had one that was like $10 million. Things like the Jesko Absolute, Agera RS, like 50 different Ageras. What is it? Not Revolto. That's the Lamborghini. What is the one that has one gear? Anyways, they create all their shit in house. Their engine is bespoke. Their transmissions are bespoke. Even their electric engines are bespoke. Even their battery packs now, I think, are bespoke. So their new car that's coming out that I'm not sure if it's shipped yet, but it's close. It's called the Gemera. It's the first 4-door hypercar. So a car that's going to do in excess of 200 miles an hour while carrying 4 passengers in comfort. And this car produces a lot of its power from an engine. It's like this little 3-cylinder weird engine that it has in it. But it gets the rest of its power from these electric motors that they call the Quark engines. They weigh 63 pounds. I'll give you guys a link. Check this out. These motors, the Regera. Thank you, Delegion. I appreciate it. Yeah, the Regera is the car that had one gear. It basically uses like a hydraulic torque converter, but it's like a really special hydraulic torque converter that allows it to have one gear to go from 0 miles an hour all the way up to 200 plus. So, yeah, I have a CPAP. I sleep with a CPAP every night. I can't sleep without a CPAP. I freaking love it. I absolutely could not survive without it, dude. Seriously. I honestly, I have the highest compliance possible. I haven't gone a single night without sleeping in over 7 years. So yeah, once you get used, like getting used to the CPAP in the beginning is a little bit of a nightmare, but once you get used to it and you get in the rhythm, it's the most amazing thing ever. Plus it helps to signal your body it's time to go to sleep. If I have a hard time getting to sleep, I just pop that sucker on and it helps me. So this motor, this Quark motor is only 63 pounds and it generates 335 horsepower. That's exactly how much horsepower my Subaru STI generates with its 2.5 liter turbocharged engine that's highly tuned. So this 63 pound motor that I could lift one with each hand. I mean, it's basically just like slightly heavier than like a 45 plate in a gym. This freaking motor creates 335 horsepower. So because it's a disc, because the motor is like a compact disc and it's not like a conventional big motor like the 400 volt system in a Tesla, the arcane technology Tesla still uses. These things you can put one on each motor, one on each wheel. So, and you can put one in the drivetrain itself. So if I remember right, the Gemera, I think the back wheels are powered by the gas system and the front wheels are powered by the electric, and combined it's like 1,800 horsepower or something like that. It's ridiculous. But with these they call it the Raxial flux engine. It's basically a radial flux, but it's a Raxial flux engine. They hold the patent for it. But at 335 horsepower for 63 pounds, you could put one of these on each motor. And you'd still be just over 200 pounds, right? You'd be like, what, 240, 250 pounds. And you would have 3, 6, 9, 12, over 1,300 horsepower. You'd have 1,300 horsepower, which is 300 and something more than a Tesla Plaid, which its motors, like the Tesla Plaid's motors combined, weigh probably closer to 6, 7, 800 pounds. For like the 2 motors in the back and the 1 motor in the front or whatever, that give it that 1,000 horsepower. So this is a big deal. This is a big deal because in electric cars, being able to reduce the weight of the car allows you more weight allowance for the battery pack. So you can use a bigger battery pack. Also, these are highly efficient motors too. This Quark motor is super efficient. I think it's an 800 volt system. I'll have to double check that. Oh shit, and it's 443 foot-pounds of torque. So it has way more torque than it does horsepower. I mean, that's usually pretty typical for an electric motor. But imagine that. So it'd be 4, 8, 12, 16, 1700 foot-pounds of torque-ish. That's wild. Not 3,000 pounds of batteries, because keep in mind that they're building the hypercar, so they don't want it to be like super heavy. They probably want it in the 3,000-ish pound range, especially since it's a hybrid. It doesn't have to have a very big battery pack. But yeah, if you wanted to make a full EV with these, because the weight is so light on the motors, you could allocate so much more to the battery pack. You could put a 200 kilowatt hour battery pack in your car and probably still be lighter than a Tesla with a 100 kilowatt battery pack. Now, the downside is I don't know if Koenigsegg is going to license these engines to other companies. I hope they do, because it would be a damn shame if this very high torque, small footprint electric motor was only available for their hypercars. I think that would be a huge disservice and a huge waste of the technology. So I hope they license it at a reasonable price to other companies so that they can make comparably equipped EVs, because they've had some good breakthroughs. If you go look at Koenigsegg, they hold some crazy patents, man. They hold a patent. I think they have they hold the record for the highest horsepower per liter engine. So they created an engine, I think, that's 300 horsepower per liter, naturally aspirated, not even turbo, because it's like super high compression 3-cylinder engine that puts out like 300 and some horsepower. And, or no, more than that. It's like 900 horsepower. I think it's the one in the Gemera, isn't it? I want to say it's the Gemera engine. It's like a freaking it is different, right? It is turbocharged. It's like a 3-cylinder turbocharged engine. I know it's weird. 3 cylinders, like what? That should be in like an Econo box. How is that in a car that has 1800 horsepower? But, yeah, they would make so much money licensing it. Because remember, they only make, like, Koenigsegg is a low production car manufacturer. Like they might sell, I don't know, 100 Gemeras worldwide, maybe 200-300 tops. Whereas if they license this to other companies, they could sell hundreds of thousands, if not millions of cars that had these motors in them. And I think that'd be amazing. Ben wants to know, is a CPAP and an AutoPAP the same thing? No. Some CPAPs have both functionality, but an AutoPAP is different. So a CPAP is a set pressure. An AutoPAP is a variable pressure. So I have an AutoPAP. I can put it in CPAP mode if I want, but I leave it in AutoPAP mode. And then there's a BiPAP, and a BiPAP is where it helps you exhale and inhale. So like a CPAP just pushes air in. An AutoPAP just pushes air in. A BiPAP pushes air in, and then when you exhale, it sucks the air out. So it eases the stress on your system and maintains pressure both directions. However, an AutoPAP, you can set a range of pressures, and it can detect how your breathing is going in your apnea events and adjust the pressure dynamically. So technically, an AutoPAP is better for you because it always maintains the minimal amount of pressure needed to keep you from having a bunch of apneas, but without having to push the pressure too high or keep it too constant, which can weaken your diaphragm. So AutoPAP is the way to go these days. However, every AutoPAP I've seen has a CPAP mode you can put it in where you just set a constant pressure and it maintains it. But in AutoPAP mode, you just set a low and a high. And also AutoPAPs have other cool features like soft or firm application of pressure. You can adjust like how it applies the pressure. So like when you breathe in, does it hit you like a fucking scuba tank and blast your airway open, or does it like ease into it so it doesn't feel so aggressive, which can help people become more compliant. You've heard that CPAP is not without risk. Mention that too while you're at it. What do you mean not without risk? Like if you have apnea and you don't use a CPAP, you can literally die from an apnea event. So I would say that CPAPs are not in themselves dangerous unless they fail. Like if it fails or it has a bug or something, I could see it being harmful. But besides that, I don't really know what it could. I mean, it's maintaining positive pressure in your airway. What's that going to do to you? I've used one for 7 years. I've had no problems. I don't know. Here, let me see here. Can CPAP be dangerous? Apnea. I'm curious. Okay, safe and effective. Okay, does come with some potential risks. Oh, if not used correctly. No, if used correctly, it's fine. If you're using it as the doctor intended, you're good. Let's see here. So misuse. Okay, so potential risks of CPAP use: airway discomfort. Some people experience dryness of the nose, mouth. Using humidifier or heated tubing can help. Yeah, well, yeah, that's I don't consider that a risk. That's an annoyance. I don't consider that a risk. But yes, you can. CPAPs do give you a dry mouth if you're running higher pressures. Even with the humidity, it does. Skin irritation and pressure sores. Yeah, if you don't have your mask fit properly or you're not using a mask that's compatible with you. Gastrointestinal issues. In rare cases, CPAP users may experience aerophagia, swallowing excess air, which can lead to bloating or gas. Oh, that's 100%. That happens to me all the time. I don't really consider that a harmful thing. It just makes me fart repeatedly through the night. It's hilarious. My wife even laughs. Like when I put on the CPAP, it just blows me up like a basketball, and because I have a tendency to swallow air, and so I end up just farting it out. Lung or sinus infection. Yep. If you don't keep your mask clean, you got to keep your mask and your tubing clean. If you don't, you can get mold accumulation, and that can actually give you a respiratory infection. Let's see here. Claustrophobia or anxiety. Again, that's not really danger. That's just like you can't use it in that case. Drop in blood pressure. While rare, some people experience lower blood pressure due to increased oxygen intake. Oh, that one I haven't heard of. That's interesting. I've had my blood pressure monitored while I'm sleeping on the CPAP, and I didn't notice any difference, but it does say in rare cases. But yeah, if you use it incorrectly, you can definitely fuck yourself up. So if you use too high or too low of pressure without getting the doctor's guidance, it can lead to breathing issues. So you want to make sure that whatever pressure you're using, that the machine is reporting good data and you're not having apneas. If you have certain health conditions, people with COPD or heart conditions should consult a doctor before using a CPAP. Let's be clear. You should consult a doctor no matter what. Like you need to get an apnea test. You should not be using a CPAP unless you were diagnosed with either obstructive sleep apnea or what's the other one? Cognitive sleep apnea. And then if the equipment is faulty or in poor order, it may malfunction, reducing effectiveness. Well, my motor has effectively been past life for about 3 months now. And it still works just fine, and my data is still exactly the way it used to be. But I've heard from people that the motor expiration is like a fixed date, even though the motors usually outlast that by like 2 to 3 times the expected lifespan. Oh, Craig, that is true. I forgot about that. The Philips CPAP did have a recall because of degrading foam that you could end up breathing into your airway that could like fuck up your lungs. That was specific to that Philips CPAP machine, though. That was terrible. What's up with the H2O engine? Free energy? No. The sad thing is, in order to make a hydrogen dihydrogen monoxide powered car, you still have to strip the oxidizer and the fuel from the water, which requires more power than you get out of the energy. That's the problem with water cars, right? Is it takes more energy to generate the fuel. Same thing with alcohol too, like E85. It takes more energy to actually generate the fuel than you get out of the fuel from burning it. That's not good. Still cool, though. Still cool. Wait, I should have thought you that heavy, and I emphasize heavy people can suffocate during REM sleep when positioned wrong in the bed. Toilet duck, no. Actually, if you have obstructive sleep apnea, you can actually have an apnea and die from obstructive sleep apnea. The CPAP actually saves you from that. It's not a risk. It actually saves you. So, and like I said, I've used it for 7 years in every single sleeping position. So my life is better on the CPAP than off of the CPAP. Now, again, I will say that if you were setting your CPAP without a doctor's input and you are not monitoring the data to make sure that the settings are proper, then yes, you can do damage. But no, a CPAP is to save your life. It's not to kill you. The CPAP. See, before I got on the CPAP, I had 50 apnea events an hour. I wasn't actually getting any sleep. Keep in mind too, this was when I was at my lightest in my life. This wasn't me big right now. I had obstructive sleep apnea even at my lightest weight, which was like 215. And the CPAP took my 50 events an hour down to 1.5 events an hour. And without it, my longest stop breathing event was 45 seconds. So during my overnight sleep study, I stopped breathing multiple times for 10 seconds and under, but my longest was 45 seconds I went without taking a breath. And my brain lit up like a Christmas tree because they put all these like little electrodes on your head and like monitor your brain function. So So yeah, without a CPAP, I could my chances of dying in my sleep go up pretty dramatically with obstructive sleep apnea. So CPAP good, CPAP very good. Everybody that has obstructive sleep apnea should go see a doctor and get tested and figure out if a CPAP is right for them, if a BiPAP is right for them, if there's actually other options too. Like I know there's medicine options for like cognitive sleep apnea that work with some people. I know there's appliances that you can use sometimes that pull your jaw out a little bit to prevent the airway from collapsing. It's good shit. CPAP regulates breathing. No, you still have to initiate the breath. So CPAP, you have to initiate the breath and you have to breathe with full force against the pressure for it to relieve. So it's actually not dissimilar to breathing off of a scuba tank. It feels similar to breathing. If you've ever gone scuba diving, it feels similar to breathing off a scuba tank, but with slightly more pressure. It's fantastic. I love it. That combined with sleep position, weight causes harm. I disagree. No, I would definitely not use. I have had 3 sleep studies and 2 sleep doctors between the sleep studies. And they have never said that any sleeping position that I have could cause a problem, that the CPAP won't wake me up if it has an obstruction. So as long as you're getting air, you're fine. Toilet duct, anything could go wrong. You can choke on your spit while you're sleeping. You can collapse your airway and literally not get air into your lungs and suffocate until your brain shuts down. You'd have a pulmonary embolism. Like there's all kinds of shit that can happen without the CPAP. The CPAP is not putting you at greater risk of any of those. It's actually reducing the risk significantly. Yeah, Kyle, I've done scuba diving. No, I've done scuba diving. I'm actually certified to 60 feet. Robot, I don't see anybody talking about diet. I think most of my regulars know better at this point. So I don't know if I missed it, Robot. I don't know. Maybe I got filtered out of chat who was talking about it, but I didn't see anything. Have you ever had a dream that you were Scuba Steve? No, I never had a dream that I was Scuba Steve. Yeah, no, I'm PADI certified. If I had my wallet, I'd show you. I still have my PADI certification. I wouldn't scuba dive again though. My inner ears have problems, and scuba diving is incredibly painful. I'd have to use Sudafed, and if the Sudafed wears off while I'm under the water, I can actually blow out my eardrums. So I really don't want to do that. But yeah, scuba dive. I loved scuba diving. I only did it. Well, I guess if you count like the pool dives and everything like that, I did like 10 days of scuba diving. But as far as like open water dives, I did 3 45-minute open dives. The first one only lasted like 12 minutes, though, because I breathed through all my oxygen panicking. But the second and third dives I took to completion for the full 45 minutes, and it was awesome. It was amazing. I did 3 open water dives at Alki Cove 3 in Seattle, and it was got to see a cuttlefish, got to see a million crabs, got to see an octopus, got to see a shipwreck. It was pretty cool. What do I think of the new Prime Minister, Mike Carney? I don't know much about him, honestly. I've been so tied up with American politics, sadly, with all the shit going on here, that I really haven't had a chance to keep an eye on everybody else. But the real question is, does Trump like him or dislike him? Because if Trump likes him, then that's dangerous for everybody. Oh, it was Corey. Corey was the... Okay, never mind. I see now. Corey was the one that talked about the weight loss surgery. No, I would not get a gastric bypass. My doctor even said that I can't get one. In order for me to get a gastric bypass, I'd have to lose 100 pounds first, and plus it wouldn't cure my obstructive sleep apnea, and it wouldn't fix my back pain, sadly, because it's all nerve-based. So in order for me to do it, I would just incur a risk that I don't need to take, and I'd also have to have a lengthy recovery time because of all my other issues compound on top of it. Because keep in mind, because I have to take pain medicine for everything else, the amount of pain medication that they have to give me for surgery is like triple what they'd give a normal person, which is considered dangerous when it's anesthesia. So you know, elective surgery isn't really that good. And also keep in mind that when Jay got the surgery, he gained the weight back and then lost it again. So he got the operation, then the stomach stretched out, gained most of the weight back, and then lost it again. So he didn't lose it on the first time. Most people don't. Most people that get gastric bypass gain the weight back, sadly. That's why they do a full mental workup before they authorize you for it. And they usually require you to demonstrate that you can lose like 100 pounds on your own now. They don't do that, I think, for some cases. But in my case, I'd have to demonstrate that I can lose 100 pounds first. So, but yeah, I don't talk about the weight thing because everybody always makes it about weight. That's just a big problem that we have. It's a stigma in our society is people think because you're heavy, all problems must be linked to weight. But the thing is, I don't have diabetes. I have my physicals are perfect except for my LDL cholesterol, and my liver enzymes are elevated, and rightfully so because the medications I take elevate your liver enzymes. That's why I have to get 2 physicals a year. But otherwise, internally, my organs are healthy. But I'm also riddled with bone spurs, but that is skeletal. We can't do anything about that with weight loss. And I can't change the bone where the nerve passes through. So that's not going to help. Now, losing weight would gain me more stamina for sure. Like I wouldn't be carrying around as much weight. Gravity wouldn't be as effective on me. So it'd be good. So yeah, losing weight is a good thing, but I have to do it the right way because if I lose weight like I did last time and I lose too much muscle along with the weight, I cause a lot more pain for myself. Dav, I thought the same thing. I was like, man, if I lose 100 pounds, I wouldn't even need the surgery. Like if I can lose 100 pounds, I can lose another 100 and another 100. Like I've lost 80 pounds before on a diet. So, you know, it's one of those things where it's like, if I'm in a place where I can do it, but back then I could be a lot more active. Now, sadly, because of the pain, I can't be very active. I don't get enough sleep. So I'm always in a constant fatigue state. Makes life a little bit more difficult. But hey, I try to hang in there. You know, I do what I can. No, Corey, he wasn't white knighting. It's just you must not be here that often. It's just a lot of people bring it up. And from my perspective, I hear it a lot. I don't know that you probably don't know that because you haven't been here during those times, but this is something that comes up a lot. Like I've probably heard it, like not even exaggerating, about 3,000 times in the last probably 5 years in various live streams and video comments, probably more than that, honestly. So because people just have a tendency to do it, but I don't expect everybody to know that. So that's why I just let you know. But no, he wasn't white knighting. He was just repeating that I get it from all sides. So, let's see here. He said that his pain caused him to not be able to work out. So the surgery could help that, right? No. My pain from working out is not caused from weight. I have the muscles in my legs. Like I have no problem carrying my weight with the muscles that I have. It's a nerve problem. Oh, no worries, Corey. No worries. If you're not reading chat or you don't hear me because I don't always engage on it. But either way, now you know it's all good. There's nothing wrong with people caring about me. It's just I understand that a lot of people make the assumption that when somebody's heavy, that's the root of all their problems. And I wish that was the case because I would just lose the weight. The weight, sadly, is a symptom of my problems. But a lot of people don't understand that because, like I said, as a society, we're bombarded with everybody being in the same bucket. Everybody gets put together and it's like, hey, listen, if you fall outside of this bucket, doesn't matter. We're just going to stick you in the bucket anyways because it's just easier. And I get that. I understand that. Shit, I've done it myself. So I totally get it. I can't expect everybody to know my life story. I can't expect them to know about the 47-degree deflection of my spine or the discs in my spine that are calcified or the bone spurs that are sticking off of my vertebrae in my spine and off of my hip and inside of my other various bones in my body. A lot of people don't know that I have to be on pain medication for the rest of my life because the surgery that they would have to do to fix it would not fix it because the bone spurs would just come back. And it would be super high risk and could potentially paralyze me at worst. And at best, it could give me a burning sensation of, they call it like phantom pain, where they basically nick a nerve. And that nerve basically just reports like a burning sensation, like constantly nonstop. And there's nothing you can do about it. Once it happens, that it's game over. And they can't numb that nerve because there's certain nerves in your body that they can't ablate. Like certain nerves in your back, they can burn and basically cause it to stop reporting to the brain. But there's other nerves in the body in certain locations where they can't do it, where it doesn't take hold. It doesn't have the same effect. It's really weird. But yeah, no, I've had a surgical consult and all that because if they were willing to do it and the risks were sound, I would definitely do it because I don't like being in pain. It fucking sucks. Not only that, but I just recently picked up a new pain. It feels like I have a bunch of scar tissue that formed in my lower right muscle in my back, and I'm hoping that that's not the case. I might have to go get an x-ray, though, because it's been going on for about 3 weeks, which is sad. Oh yeah, no worries. No worries, Corey. No worries at all, man. Yeah, no. And Jay getting the operation, it's like, in the end, it may have gotten him to a place where he could remember and then like go back to that place again later. But ultimately, to be successful, like when you're a person that can gain that much weight, there's a lot of mental problems involved with it too. Same for everybody. It's like overeating is an actual mental problem. Like people that don't overeat, they don't overeat for a reason. They don't have that same mental problem and compulsion. And that compulsion has to be cured or mitigated or worked around before you can successfully lose weight and keep weight off. If you don't mitigate it, what you end up doing is torturing yourself to lose the weight, to satisfy other people without personally being convinced. And then you ultimately get soured on it because you don't like that everybody makes it about your weight. Then you ultimately relapse and start falling in the other direction. And then people punish you for it, which causes a bigger relapse. Trust me, I know I've been down the same path, even without surgery, where I've lost like 80 pounds, got severe pain that I couldn't tolerate, got laid up for 6 months, gained a shitload of the weight back. And then people just hated me. And it's because to them, it was about me losing weight. They didn't like me as a person. They didn't care about me as a person. They just liked being associated with, oh, I told this guy to lose weight and he lost weight. Or he lost weight and I congratulated, therefore I'm connected to his weight loss. And then when he doesn't lose weight anymore, that makes them feel bad, makes them feel like they failed. And then they're angry about it. And it's like, but listen, like I tried multiple times. You guys watch me. You watch the pain I went through to do it. But sadly, people are not very forgiving in that case. And again, they just put you in the same bucket as everybody else. We're like, well, that guy lost weight, so why can't you? It's like there's a lot of factors. People are radically different in many ways. Oh yeah, key Matt, that's the key way to lose weight, man. Just cut carbs. But just realize if you cut carbs without having any activity, you also lose muscle right along with it. And if you have a nerve condition where you can't afford to lose muscle in your core and you lose that muscle, you pay for it dearly. Trust me, I've been there. Valley Brand said, I got a nerve problem in my back too. It's so painful. Sorry you go through that too. The pain is never fun to experience. Wouldn't wish this on my worst enemy. Dude, back pain just is fucking, it's insidious. You never get used to it. Doesn't matter how long you have it. You never, like you begin to tolerate it on some level, but you never get used to it. It's always fucking nagging you and hurting you. Oh, for sure, Dav. Yeah, 100%. He said, yeah, it's much harder to keep the weight off than it is to lose the weight. 100%. 100%. You can focus on losing the weight and you can force yourself on a regimen with absolutely no diversion, but to maintain that requires a lot of mental fortitude in addressing the mental issues in the first place. Jonathan said, I can tell you that I'm sick and tired of people telling me lowering my weight will lessen my RAAS mental health conditions because like these were problems before I got heavy. The only thing that losing weight will cause in the mental space is that the people that cause the mental health issues in the first place might stop attacking you. The funny thing is the people that say it'll improve your mental health are also the people that create the mental health problem in the first place that put you where you're at. So they're basically just threatening you. They're like, listen, if you do what we say, we lose the weight, then we'll stop harassing you. And it's like, okay, but then the problem is when you lose the weight, people say it's not enough and they want you to lose more. And then the other people get angry if you start looking unhealthy because you're losing weight too fast. And then you end up just getting everybody pissed off at you. You can't. One thing I learned in any online visibility is you can't please everybody. The second you try to please everybody, you will just run in circles and drive yourself absolutely fucking crazy. You know, there's just not much you can do. Yeah, I mean, Mystic Knight, 100%, dude. Yeah, random people just see me and they just think, hey, you're just lazy and just sit around all day. I'll tell you what, I used to snowboard. I used to fucking climb mountains and hike shit. You can go watch the videos on YouTube yourself. I fucking hiked 2,000 foot elevation in one day with my buddy, you know, and that was when and I still weighed like 280 pounds and had a fucking 60-pound pack on. So there was a time where I could do all that stuff. It's like, but yeah, nerve issues fuck you up, man. Like, don't take life for granted because you eventually get to a point, you know, hey, you might be one of the lucky ones, but man, if you drew the genetic short card, yeah, that shit can be taken away from you in a fucking blink of an eye. I'm just thankful that right now I'm not in a wheelchair, but the doctor said I will be in a wheelchair. He said there's no avoiding it. No matter how much weight I lose, no matter what, the issue I have is degenerative. It will continue to happen. At some point, I will be in a wheelchair. They estimated that I'd be in a wheelchair in my late 40s, early 50s. So that's yet to be determined. But I told him when I was in my 30s, I was like, no fucking way, when I was snowboarding and everything. And it's like, no, I'm pretty much, their timetable's catching up with me pretty hard. So, Toilet Duck said losing weight is as easy as gaining weight. Not even close. not that right there tells me that you haven't had to deal with the same problems I have, for sure. No, gaining weight is infinitely easier than losing weight unless you're in a concentration camp. If you're in a concentration camp, you have no choice. Then yeah, maybe losing weight is easy. But we'll just keep. Hey, some knucklehead. Toilet Duck just likes to troll. Like if you go back and look at his history of messages, like nothing he says really makes any sense. He's trying to ride the line. He's trying to be a troll that doesn't get banned but can say as much ridiculous shit as possible, and he's trying to ride the line. He hasn't worn me out just yet, but he probably will at some point. But yeah, life is like a box of chocolates. You never know what you're gonna get. But there's good shit. There's good shit that comes with even in the worst situation. You can always have good things in life. Like I have the best wife in the world, the best son in the world. I've done so many amazing things in my life that the memories sustain me. So that I got going for me. Plus, I got a hell of a lot of good people around me. That are really, really legitimately good people that aren't just out to try to shame or try to attack somebody to try to claim victory if they end up submitting and doing what they want them to do. Even it doesn't matter if it hurts them either, too. Like if I lose weight and when I lost weight the first time, I lost 40 pounds. Everybody's like, oh my God, you look so great. I've never been in more pain in my life. Had to go in and get a full body CT because my joints were hurting so bad, only to find out the gout eroded away all my joints because of the keto diet I was put on that lost me the 40 pounds. And I basically destroyed all my joints for the rest of my life. And I was like, fuck, that sucks. And then when I told everybody, they didn't care. Oh, you're just a failure. You should have kept losing weight. You're just a fat fucking failure. These are like the people that were congratulating me. Oh, you lost the weight. But then you explain, wait a second. No, this wasn't a good thing. I actually ended up worse off for the rest of my life and even more crippled and even in more pain. And people are like, they didn't give a shit. They only listen to what they want to listen to. Those aren't your friends. Those aren't friends. Those are glory hounds. Those are people that are just hoping that you'll lose weight so then go, I was the one that told them to do it. Seen it a million times. They're there for the successes, but they fuck you for the failures. Yeah, the Legion. I'm hopeful, man. Technology is getting better and science is getting better. And the doctors did say once the new pain medication that's in trials, right, or actually it's public now. They said once it's on the market for a year, if there's no major reported problems, they'll prescribe it and give it a try with me. So I'm looking forward to that. I think I got what is like 9 more months I have to go before they'll consider putting me in that like trial in the medication on me. They just want to make sure whenever a new medication gets approved for FDA and it gets wide use, usually within the first year, the bad shit will show up. So if nothing bad shows up, then we'll give it a try, but they're not comfortable with putting me on this new drug that just came out, considering that, it may have some bad side effects. But we'll see. We'll see. I just got to hang in there. Yeah, anybody that thinks that I should just stop eating as a means of losing weight does not understand my medical problems at all. That's a person that doesn't think that the weight is a symptom of the problem. They think that the weight is the problem. And that's incorrect. And that's why you go to actual doctors and you don't just trust randos on the internet that don't know better because they just learn the same way everybody else did by watching TV. The TV said fat people are unhealthy. There you go. It's like, that's just, those people you just got to ignore. And I've learned that. Like, those people don't get to me anymore. I just ban them. I just say fuck them, get them out of here. If they're not being serious and it's clear that they don't have good intentions, I just fucking punt them. Oh, thank you, Mr. Toft. I appreciate that. Hey, Ian, thank you for the 500 huffs. He said, check Blue Sky. I mentioned you for a photo as Igor Who. Mentioned you for a photo. Here, let me take a look really quick. Hopefully it shows it to me. Let me go into my profile here. Feeds. Let's see. Notifications. What have I got? It's not loading. Come on, Beast Guy. Hey, you're watching me on a giant projector in your backyard? That's awesome. Greetings from Hungary. Hey, I'm like 30% Hungarian. So you're in Urbanistan watching Tech Talk on the big screen. That is awesome. Here, let me see if I can get a link to this so I can put it in chat so everybody else can come and see it. This is great. This is fun. It's fun to see like the different places where people are watching me. This is great. Oh yeah. That's Corey. You're absolutely right. Like if you put your body into ketosis and then you have to go back to eating calories, you gain weight so much quicker. So you gotta be really careful with keto. Keto can really fuck you if you don't apply it properly, and especially if you have gout. If you have gout, don't go anywhere near keto. My doctor's fucked up on that royally. But yeah, that's the hardest part. Losing muscle with when you're stationary, losing weight without losing muscle is difficult because your body only preserves the muscle that gets used a lot if it's at a caloric deficit. So if I lose any more of my core muscle or any more of my lower back muscles, I'm completely fucked. So I have to find a way to manage the pain enough that I can work out, which I usually do for like the first half of the month or whatever. I get enough pain relief here and there that I can, lift some weights and get out over my core and put my core under some stress, and I can get it to where it's tolerable. I can also go sit in the hot tub, but I have to be careful with the hot tub because the hot tub I found, if I stay in there, because to get any effective pain relief, I really got to stay in there for like an hour plus. And at the temperatures I have to put it at to get my muscles and my back to relax, it tends, when I get out of there, my heart tends to not fibrillate. What is it called? It'll skip beats. Almost like when you have an anxiety attack, same kind of feeling. And so you got to cool off properly and not like fucking overdo it. Otherwise you feel like you're going to have a goddamn heart attack. Dude, gout fucking sucks. I just started, I didn't take allopurinol for like 6 months. I stopped taking it and I forgot. I just started taking it the other night again because I don't want to have another gout attack. Gout sucks. Yeah, you don't want gout. Gout is fucking terrible. Luckily, the gout attacks I have are nowhere near as bad as some people. Palpitations, that's it. Thank you, Kyle. I appreciate it. Oh. Toilet duck, I can never tell when you're being serious or not, brother. I really can't. You've trolled so much at this point, I can't separate what you're truly talking about versus anything else. So I just let you do your little troll thing as long as you don't cross the line too far. As far as the mind-muscle connection, of course there is. Your mind literally drives your muscles. It's literally how it works. Oh, 100%, Arthur. Yeah, but to be clear, I'm not saying being overweight is healthy. Being overweight is absolutely not healthy. I'm not. Don't get me wrong. If anybody's taking that away from this, no, I'm not delusional. I'm a man of science. Like, no, like I said, my weight is a symptom. It's not something I want. It's not something I'm defending. It's not something, if I could get rid of it, I absolutely would. But the only way I can get rid of it is finding a way to keep my core muscle mass while losing. That's why I'm also not taking Ozempic. Ozempic causes you to operate at a caloric deficit and causes your muscle to burn. And you lose the muscle with the fat. And if I lose any more of my midsection muscle, I am fucked. Your wife says your mind drives my muscles. I'd hope so. If anything else is driving them, you got a problem. Created ducks sitting on a toilet using AI and use that for all the profile pics in appreciation of the toilet duck's dumb trolling antics. That would actually be pretty funny. I don't know. I don't know why I keep him around. Honestly, don't. Usually I'd ban somebody who's just that fucking annoying, but he hasn't crossed that line yet. And I know that he's just trolling to troll. Like he's just being funny and he likes the interaction. So I guess no harm, no foul so far. So it is what it is. But I have to admit, I mean, he's riding the line pretty good. Don't they make those things you put on your abs that sort of use electric shock? I have one. It's called a TENS device. And it also does the other mode, which is called like, there's another word for it. There's TENS therapy, and then there's the other one where it actually works the muscles. They're slightly different frequencies. And yes, you can use those, but the problem is they don't preserve the muscle, because unless your brain issues the impulse to the muscle doesn't grow. It'll help perfuse the muscle with blood, which is good, and it'll keep the muscle oxygenated and healthier for sure. but it sadly doesn't create you have to generate the impulses from the brain so that your brain knows you can't lose that muscle. Like, your brain needs to know that you're using that muscle. And if you're externally activating it without using the nerves from your brain doesn't think you're using the muscle. Therefore, you don't benefit. And that's why you don't see like bodybuilders and shit just putting those pads all over them and just doing like fucking hard workouts all day, every day, because they wouldn't gain anything. They have to actually physically lift the weight, and they have to like strain their muscles, you know, to the limits of what their brain will drive them, the nerve impulses, so that their brain will know that they need more muscle. They're like, this guy is doing this repetitive thing every day, so he needs more muscle so that it's not as hard to do. Yeah, because I tried that too back in the day. I was like, yeah, I'm just gonna put these pads on me. I'm gonna lose all kinds of weight. I went for like a week where I was putting them on my abs, and it was just making me do sit-ups for like an hour straight until I couldn't stand it anymore. And I realized that like nothing was happening other than I was just getting sore muscles. I wasn't gaining any muscle. I was actually losing muscle, which was really weird. I was like, how can you lose muscle when your muscle's working all the fucking time? Wait, who are you talking to, Corey? If you're talking to Toilet Duck, he is definitely drunk. I will almost bet money that he is drunk or high on something. But hey, he's enjoying life so far, and he's annoying, but he's not too annoying. I will tell you this though, guys. I am at about my pain tolerance level. So I'm not going to do like I did last time and stream for 10 hours and then I'm laid up in bed for another 3 days. So I'm going to try to cut bait and run while I can. And I am going to go take a little nap because I did only sleep for an hour. So I'm going to go get a little rest. But I enjoyed hanging out with you guys. Thank you for keeping me company today on Tech Talk. It's always a pleasure. Thankfully, Ox pushes me, you know, and makes me want to do this even when I'm hurting really bad. Like, I've had to wear a freaking safety lift belt this entire time because the pain in my back is so bad if I just sit upright. So I'm having to lean into the table and have this thing squish my guts really hard just so the muscle in my back doesn't spasm. But damn. Has anybody experienced problems upgrading from Windows 10 to Windows 11? I haven't done a Windows 10 to 11 upgrade in a long time, but I'd have to imagine they have most of the issues resolved. You most likely, if you have any issues, it's going to be driver related. You might want to uninstall, like, you know, any drivers from obscure hardware that you don't think are on the HCL or heavily tested, just to avoid any possible blue screens or anything, and then install the Windows 11 equivalent driver. How's my job going? Haven't started yet. Still waiting for the official start. I thought I would have been started by now, but no, not quite yet. We're not quite there, but it's coming soon. They just have to wait until they're ready to take me on. Oh shit, that sucks, Ian. Yeah, moving. Yeah, people don't realize, like, when you move less, you gain weight. Like, that's. I used to be really active too. Dav, I wish I could tell you guys what the job is. It's just a little side job. It's not permanent. It's just a 1099 MISC contract job to do some AI coding for a company, and it may turn into something more. It just depends on if I like it or not. It's contingent on whether, you know, I enjoy it and you know, I can really get, you know, swept away in it. So, but it is with AI and it's working for my buddy, so that'll be fun when it's time. Oh, all right, guys, I gotta get out of here. My back is super fucked. I want to thank everybody though. You guys are amazing. Ian, thank you for the super chat. Dawn, thank you for the super chat. Histario, Gimpy G, Thomas Lind, Code Maniac, Don T. Kellogg, Car Wash, thank you so much. Blue Varo, Bubba to Matt, and Matthew Riley, Pele, Daniel Frost, Blue Varo again, Car Wash again. You guys are awesome. I appreciate you guys. Appreciate your super chats. Thank you for helping me feed my family and helping Ox get a little bit of money for his hobbies. I really do appreciate it. I'm glad that I can do something to give him a little scratch here and there. Sorry I can't hang around longer today. My brain is melting and my back hurts really bad, so I'm not going to be very entertaining from this point on. And I don't want to get all defeatist and all that shit. But oh shit, I just realized we didn't even talk about Dr. Lupo cheating at chess. If you don't know who Dr. Lupo is, He's a YouTuber, cheated at a chess tournament for $150,000. And all I know, we were going to go into it in depth together on the stream because neither one of us knew much about it. But apparently he decided to confess that he cheated like in the middle of the tournament and then step out of the tournament. But it's not clear if he did that like because he was losing or if he did it because somebody outed him or said they were going to out him or it was clear people were onto him for cheating. But at any rate, it was just kind of an interesting story because Dr. Lupo usually is a really positive live streamer who promotes positivity and usually is the guy that's like, against the cheaters and talking about the cheaters, not the cheater himself. He apologized to the public in a huge tweet, but it did seem very prepared and very grammatically correct to the point where it's like, I don't even know if it really came from him. It seemed like it was more like damage control. That's just my personal opinion. But you guys can go look into it yourself, and draw your own conclusions. I believe in second chances. I believe that people shouldn't be crucified for apologizing, but also believe that, people do need to take responsibility and they do need to be punished for their actions that hurt other people. And cheating in a tournament when there's $150,000 on the line is definitely not victimless. This isn't like cheating during a live stream or whatever, and you just misled your audience a little for entertainment. This is, but the fact that he came forward and apologized, if it was a true apology, and he stepped out of the tournament when he was ahead and winning without anybody threatening to expose him or anybody calling him out in chat, then, maybe give him the benefit of the doubt, and maybe, reward, him apologizing and stepping out instead of just taking the money. But if he was losing or he wasn't ahead or it was clear that somebody was calling him out, he's cheating while he was on the rise and then he stepped out, knowing that, if he won, he'd be hugely scrutinized and possibly even sued for cheating. That's a little bit different. That's not grounds for an apology. That's a I got caught apology. But again, you guys have to come to your own conclusions. It was only 100K. Oh, I thought. Sorry, Ox told me it was 150. Maybe I misunderstood. Maybe it was just 100K. But still, 100K is 100K. That's a lot of money. That's a lot of money, even for somebody that only has 1.8 million subs. Like 100K is a lot of money. You can buy a fucking really nice sports car for $100,000. All right, shit. I gotta get out of here. I know I keep saying that, but I really do this time. I will catch you guys later. If you want to hit me up offline, come on over to Discord. You guys, my Discord's in the video, in the Tech Talk description. And I will see you guys over there in general once I wake up from my nap.